Hello and welcome, League of Legends fans, to the CCS Analyst Desk. I'm your host, Lindor, here today with some very special guests. We've got Orion, we've got Zone, and we've got a Grinchy Goons representative, Toast, here today. And we've got some exciting League of Legends on the ledger today. 4 games this week, 2 today for the Wednesday conference, 2 tomorrow for Thursday. Let's get right into it, guys, because our first matchup of the night is going to be TA Knight versus TA Light. These two sister teams going at it head to head. And Orion, both these teams have been faring pretty well through the first couple of weeks of the CCS, but they've had very different strength of schedules. TA Light have come in facing 3 of the weakest teams in the Wednesday division. TA Knight have had a couple tougher matchups against Hard Hat Zone. So looking at TA Light, do we think that they can hold up under the pressure of a tougher opponent here today in TA Knight?
Well, we definitely get to see tonight for sure. I think, obviously, going 6-0 so far in total game record it's a pretty good achievement regardless of who you play. I mean, obviously, like you can pretty easily drop a game if you're not on top of what you're looking to do. So a team like TA Light, especially going against their sister team tonight, we've had some talks from TA Knight is a pretty brand new team to TA, so it's like they actually don't really know who they are. Right. Or they don't really treat them as a sister team, really. So there's not probably a whole lot of innate rivalry going on. But I bet you after this match, people will start recognizing or start giving credit to who both these teams are in terms of the team ambition Discord or whatever.
Yep.
So definitely a pretty hype matchup for sure. Hopefully for TA Light, they use the experience and the knowledge they've gained for the first 3 weeks to say, hey, we know how to win these games. We know how to play cleanly. Let's see if we can do it against a better opponent now.
Definitely some bragging rights on the line in that matchup here today. We saw last week TA Knight were handed a pretty tough loss against Hard Hat Zone, who have looked like a very dominating team. So, Zone, I'm going to send this one over to you.
Sure.
With them considering they had their one loss against Hard Hat Zone, pretty easy win in week 1 against Collective Effort. Can we really judge them fairly on their record so far?
I don't think so. I think personally, if you drop a game to DNX or Hard Hat, it's pretty hard to judge. I think both those teams are like the front runners of the Wednesday.
Mhm.
I think TA Knight on paper is also a better team than TA Light. I also know the TA Knight players a little more. It was Snow Life's little roster, right?
Yep.
We got Snow Life and the boys. I think Ulrich's on it too. So I think TA Knight's actually better. Even though my predictions say otherwise, you got to take the spicy picks if you want to win in the pick'ems. But I do think it should be a 3-game series, and I got TA Knight taking it 2-1.
Okay, and I think you're right. I think it is going to be an extremely competitive match, especially like looking at these teams on paper. They seem to have some strength and some weaknesses on both sides. Should be a fairly competitive match. So, Zone, I'll come back to you on this one just because we've already heard your prediction. What do you think is the factor that is going to allow TA Knight to come out on top here tonight?
Easily bot lane. Their bot lane, I think, is a lot better on TA Knight compared to TA Light. Granted, I haven't seen TA Light as much, but I do think that the jungle mid out of TA Light is where TA Light shines, ironically, with the light. But but I do think that if TA Light wants to have a chance, they got to play through Dr. Phil and Chill and Spoozy. And then I think top lane's pretty much is going to be like noodles hitting each other the whole time.
Orion, are you in accordance with that assessment?
Yeah, I think after watching TA Knight on stream a couple of times, we definitely saw Yolveric and Snow Life doing very, very well in that bot lane. Yolveric being able to play just kind of the self-relying ADCs in Zuri and Ezreal, allowing Snow Life to have a lot of pressure on the map. I do think against a team like TA Light, Snow Life probably won't have as much opportunities to roam. I would assume that the communication would be a little bit better, and because we saw a lot of games that TA Knight played. The enemy teams were just like making a lot of like either communication mistakes or just awareness mistakes, which I feel like for a team with TA Light that hasn't dropped a game yet, probably less likely to happen to them. So we'll have to look to see if they're able to make plays, like correct plays instead of just punishing enemy teams' mistakes, or if TA Knight is just going to continue just to punish mistakes and continue to have Snow Life just continue to roll.
All right. So with that being said, what's your prediction for this match?
So I think my prediction on the pick'ems, I believe I chose TA Light, but I do think it's going to be very, very close. I think it'll be a 2-1 for sure. I think both teams show a lot of grit. They show a lot of willingness to win. I do think TA Light will drop their first game tonight.
Okay.
I do think that TA Light is going to find a way to come out on top of it. I've seen, obviously, we know TA Light has had the weaker schedule, so we're finally going to get to see how good of a team TA Light actually is. Are they this? Are they going to show an 8-0 game record, just stomping opponents left and right, or are they finally going to show some cracks in the armor?
Maybe finally gonna drop a game here tonight. Toast, I need you to break the tie. We've got Zone predicting TA Knight with the victory. Orion on the other side thinking that Light's got it in the bag. Maybe you're not super familiar with these teams being from the Thursday conference yourself, but what do you think?
Flip a coin.
Listen, I have a very scientific approach to evaluating which teams are better. It's the ancient science of numerology, especially when teams are this close together. N as a letter is much larger when you turn it into a number than L is.
Okay.
So obviously there's an advantage to Knight there. And
do you
wait. What if you go Z to A though?
Why would you do that? That's not how that works. That doesn't make any sense. Listen, N is a larger number, right? So you gotta give them that. And so I also think Knight is a better name.
Oh yeah, I mean that definitely means they're the better League of Legends team, right?
On the actual, I don't know, but more serious analysis, I do think that a team that hasn't lost at all definitely can become a bit more complacent. I don't know how their scrims are going. I don't know how anything outside of that is going. But, having a bit more to actually look back on, VOD review, an analysis of their playstyle, stuff like that, might give them a bit more to develop. I'm just going to give it tonight,
All right, we're gonna call that a little bit of a wishy-washy answer, but
No. I gave 3 different answers, and all 3 pointed in the same direction. I don't know what you're talking about there.
All right, we're saying you're predicting Knight. 2 of my analysts here are predicting Knight on the day. We'll see how it does break down in that matchup. Our other Wednesday conference game here tonight is Collective Effort versus Red Panda Gaming. Collective has had a pretty rough start to their season, considering how dominant they were in the CCS last year. They were missing former MVP Philly B, aka Rowdy Randy, for a couple of their games. And so coming into this game against Red Panda Gaming, it should be their easiest matchup that they've faced so far. How are we feeling, Zone? I'll toss this one to you. How desperate do you think Collective should be feeling right now against Red Panda Gaming to get a win?
If they don't 2-0, it's not a win for Collective. I don't care if they 2-1, it should not go to 3 games. That's my personal opinion on playing both teams, because we played Red Panda in the lock-in. We've actually scrimmed them. And I know Collective from last season. It's the same roster. If it's not a 2-0, I don't know what they're doing. I think they just take their FF deposit and leave.
Yeah, and so then on the other side for Red Panda Gaming, they've had a similarly poor start to the season. Definitely don't have the history to fall back on where people can go, hey, look, they were good last season. I'm sure they'll get it all together. They lost their first 2 games, unfortunately had to forfeit their 3rd match of the season. And so Orion, finally this team does have their starting full roster together. They have all 5 members here to play tonight. Do you think that that's maybe going to be the turnaround for this team? Maybe they can get a surprise victory here against Collective Effort?
I think it's what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
I personally am going to say no. I think Red Panda Gaming is having just too slow of a start, and I think they're just too far behind the curve to actually look for anything that would... Oh, sorry. One second.
Orion's
little intermission here. Orion's got to wake up his dog or something. I don't know.
He's got to switch his laundry. It's
Not quite. But yeah, so I think for Red Panda Gaming, I think they have to go a long way in order to potentially make even a playoff run. I think, and also for Collective as well. But I think if you're RPG, I think you're just a little bit too far out of the running here currently. Maybe use the rest of this splitter season to say, hey, let's try to keep a consistent 5, work on things together. Always look to be improvement, because I think they're just a little too far out of the running to make playoffs, unfortunately for them, just due to their rough start. Because their schedule doesn't really get too much easier from here.
Right.
So they're just going to keep playing tougher teams along the way. So hopefully they'll take the take the losses or probably that's going to be upcoming here to actually just look for a better route of improvement and stuff.
Yeah, Red Panda Gaming still have to play TA Knight. They still have to play Hard Hat Zone. So definitely some more difficult matchups coming up for them in the future. So it'll be a tough road ahead. But they do have now their starting 5. Maybe they can pull a couple wins out here and make a run for the playoffs in the later weeks. But we'll have to see how it does go. This season, the Wednesday conference has been a lot more competitive, I would say, than last season's CCS, and maybe Zone and Toast can attest to the fact that Wednesday maybe is looking a little bit stronger than the Thursday conference. Would you guys maybe agree with that?
So I'm gonna say that Thursday I feel is a lot more top heavy, and then it's like middle of the pack. I think it's more like sectioned off, whereas Wednesday it's like you got DNX, Hard Hat,
right,
and then
the
I
rest.
guess Dorado, maybe Dorito Gaming, and then the rest. Yeah.
Fair enough. So, looking at collective strategy in this Wednesday conference, they've been relying pretty heavily on their mid laner, Philly B. Do we think that that's sustainable heading forward here against some of the tougher opponents that they might come up against in Wednesday?
I mean, no disrespect to Tisda, but I don't think Tisda's carrying anytime soon. Even on the Aatrox when he got it, you gotta put your faith in Philly B in the wards. Just play around it. You have to.
Philly
At
B
this
and
point.
Wards. Go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, all right.
That's all I got. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll continue to see collective try to take a page out of the TSM book and have a mid laner and some support around them. Toss, do you think Toast rather? Do you think that strategy is good enough for this team to make playoffs?
I think coming in with a strategy, sticking to it, practicing it, even if it is a very one-dimensional strategy of play around your mid laner, put all your resources into mid laner, hope that they will carry. Having a very solid strategy like that is very often enough to put you at least like middle of the pack. Having a defined idea of how you're going to play and playing to that is at least having the discipline there is a lot to put you into winning positions in games, hopefully anyway. So that is an advantage. I will say that I'm not quite as familiar with all of the Wednesday teams to say, like, obviously matchup by matchup that definitely puts them into playoff position, but just off of that idea anyway, makes a bit more sense in that way.
Here, Toast. I'll give you a little help matchup by matchup. Okay. They're playing Hard Hat tomorrow on a reschedule. Okay. If they lose tonight and tomorrow, I don't think they can make playoffs. So they basically have to win tonight if they want a chance at playoffs.
Well, I mean, they are favorites to win tonight, right? Like, I feel like that's not a controversial statement. So that saying they need to win tonight to make playoffs is not doom and gloom. So,
well,
I mean, they only have one win so far, so it is
week 3. It's feeling a little bit desperate.
One win does not exclude you from playoffs.
We need Philly B's internet to get fixed, so then we can see the true Rowdy Randy come out.
The true Rowdy Randy and his 4 wards.
I will say, to be a hot take contrarian for the side of Red Panda Gaming, is that as another team that has a lot of roster troubles leading to losses, it is a lot easier to come back from heavy losses into your full roster. It's a lot easier to have a clean sweep of that bad energy, of that low morale coming into your full roster than it would be fielding the same 5 and getting smashed, right?
So that being said, then Toast, are you willing to predict RPG coming away with the win tonight?
I feel like I have to now. Fuck.
You gotta vote for your underdog brethren.
I have to.
10th place brethren.
Whoa. We're 9th place. Come on.
That's true.
We're 9th place. All right.
You guys were gifted 2 wins.
I have solidarity with Red Panda Gaming. Teams with great logos need to stick together.
All right, say no more. That's one prediction for Red Panda Gaming. Orion, who you got in this matchup?
I think I had to just go collective here. I think, like I mentioned earlier, Red Panda Gaming is just too far off the curb. I think also for collective, this is a must-win for them, and I think they understand that. Obviously, they went 0-2 so far, so they, they have to pull it out somewhere. I mean, like Puffson mentioned, they're playing Hard Hat in a reschedule, and Hard Hat is looking like a very dominating team in Wednesday's group. So if you lose to them, you're 0-3, and then that's when mathematically it can be just very hard to make it out of your group, kind of like how Puffson mentioned. So it's looking pretty grim for them. Hopefully, they're able to make it towards like the middle, towards the back half of playoffs. But once you make playoffs, that's what really matters because you can have your full team ready. You can have you can have Rowdy Randy like fully available and online. But what's important is he can be online all he wants. But if you don't make playoffs, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely true. I think we already heard from Puffzone there. He thinks that this is going to be a collective effort, easy clap game against Red Panda Gaming. But I think there's a glimmer of hope maybe for the RPG squad getting their solid 5 roster together and looking to grow as a team. Looking at our Thursday conference now, moving on to some of those games that we've got tomorrow night. The first one on the stream is going to be the first place Goldfish Gamers versus Iconic Severance. Goldfish has been trying to erase their reputation of kind of a choker from last season. They've had a very hot start coming into the CCS this year, but their strength of schedule does remain a little bit dubious. Their first 3 opponents were Zeal, Sensei, and Crosspoint. I would say Sensei probably being the strongest of those teams. I'll hand this one off to Zone. Do we think that Goldfish is proving the doubters wrong with this 3-0 start, or is their schedule kind of flattering their win record, and we're going to expect them to take a couple losses pretty soon here?
Okay, their schedule is flattering their record. I'm not saying that they're a bad team because like they are winning like dominantly against these bottom teams. It's like they should be.
6-0.
Yeah, they should be. But you got to keep in mind it's the 10th, 8th, and then Sensei is 3rd right now, but it's only been 3 weeks. So I mean, it's like the 2 bottom teams. It's like you had a 15K gold lead at 20 minutes. Good job, guys. They're about a tier and rank lower than all of you. It's like good job. But I think later on, we'll truly see if Goldfish are gonna choke. Because in the words of Flay, I'm gonna quote him here: "Iconic is the cockroach of CCS." Okay, they're always gonna find a way to scrap it, get it to game 3, and they usually take the game 3. So it should be a good series to watch.
That's exciting. We always like to see those full 3-game series. Looking over at the other side for Iconic, kind of a middle of the pack team right now, sitting at 1-2, 4-4 game record. Like you say, have been able to bring some of these series to the full 3 games. Orion, they're like Hupzone's emphasizing here. They're pretty notorious for making their opponents sweat. So having taken some games off of some decent teams up against Goldfish Gaming here, do you think they're good enough to sneak a victory here against Goldfish?
Yeah, I think they have a chance. I definitely think the matchup is still favored to Goldfish. I've personally been pretty high on Goldfish Gaming even since lock-in. But so far, like we've mentioned, their schedule has been pretty easy so far. But I mean, I think against a team like Iconic, obviously I would say a middle of the pack team probably for Thursday. So definitely an opponent that could theoretically sneak a win in a best of 3. Obviously, like if you make mistakes, or for a team like Iconic who is very scrappy, they like to take the games to game 3. And since Goldfish Gaming is so used to just kind of blowing their teams out the water, you can maybe see a chance where if the game is closer, they might actually make mistakes in some of their wins. Because I know there's been some games where they've been blowing teams out of the water, and things have kind of like slowed down towards the later of the game, even though they had such a big gold lead. So maybe if the gold lead's only like 1 to 2,000, or if they're even losing in the early to mid game, Goldfish Gaming might be not so used to playing for those kinds of positions so far in CCS.
For sure. Toast, you and the Great Dragoons faced off against Iconic in week 2 of the CCS. Is there any little bits of advice that you might give to Goldfish Gaming heading up against this squad?
So I'm going to be completely honest. We were in a bit of a chaotic state that week, which isn't to take anything away from Iconic. They showed up and they absolutely dumpstered us. But I wouldn't say that there's a whole lot to take away for either team for those games. However, as you know, the salty boy that I am, I do have to give it to iconic. Goldfish haven't beaten Grinchy Goons, so
Oh.
they don't know, right? Like they don't know. I got to give it to iconic in that kind of advantage, right?
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, if one team's beaten Grinchy and the other team hasn't, I think the one that's beaten them is obviously just better, right? That seems like simple math.
Exactly. Like one team has beaten the playoff favorites, Grinchy Goons. The other team hasn't. So like
All right.
you gotta take that, you know?
Can't argue with that logic, I gotta say. Yeah, I mean, moving on here, Orion, I'm going to ask you about this one. What does it say about the current CCS Thursday conference? Given that this iconic Severance is sitting around 6th place, they were formerly known as the Lemons. They were also 6th place last split. So what does that kind of tell you about the general strength of this Thursday conference?
I think Puffstone kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit earlier when he talked about how Thursday's conference is just so top heavy. I think the top 3 or 4 teams are just definitely some of the better teams of the group. Obviously, PGO lost their match to Grinchy. I do think PGO is one of the better teams. You know, they did kind of get smacked in their 2-0, unfortunately for them. But I do think they'll probably make their way back to the top eventually. And then after probably week 4, week 5, maybe even week 6, we'll start seeing like the top 4 teams just kind of stay up there, and then everyone else is trying to fight for that 5th and 6th spot. And with that being said, beating teams that are below you just become that much more important if you are a middle to like kind of like the 3, 4, 5 team around that area, because it's going to be really hard to even take games off of like 1 and 2. But if you take games off of everyone else below you, then you're kind of like you're still making sure you're able to even make playoffs in the first place. If you stop dropping games to teams below you, it's gonna be hard to find your way back into the playoff seeding.
So if I'm hearing you correctly here, Orion, you've got Goldfish Gaming, Horizon Gaming, and PGO as your top 3 in Thursday. Is that correct?
I think by the end of the season, that's probably my 3 prediction. Yeah.
Okay, so then Zone, over to you. Who's going to be that 4th place team that will kind of rise above the rest of these teams that maybe can't quite break into the top 3 because of those 3 teams showing so much dominance, but will kind of be the cream of the crop as it comes down to the rest of the teams in this group?
Okay, so the ones that I would look at are our current 5, 6, 7. So Iconic, TDR, Shadows. I actually think Iconic probably will make playoffs because they're in 6th right now. So for people that weren't here last split, Iconic was actually like at the bottom for the first half. So the fact that they're 6th right now actually is a pretty good job on them. So good
Much
for
better
them because
start.
because they only snuck in because we beat Goldfish on the last week in
Right.
game 3. That was like literally it. I think actually Shadow's replacing their support, Shaco's Thick Dumpy. I know he got picked up by another team, but that guy was like doing some like questionable things. If the new support doesn't get caught out as much, I actually think Shadow's team is not half bad. And I don't think it'll be TDR. It'll be either Iconic or Shadows.
All right. Well, Iconic could take a game off of Goldfish here, and that would, push them up in the standings, make them look like maybe that solid 4th place team already. We haven't got predictions yet for this match, so before we move on here, let's go Zone first, then Orion, and then Toast. Who you guys got in this one? Zone?
Oh, he did say me first. Ha.
I did.
I'm just staring. I'm staring at my screen. I'm sorry. Blanked out there, Lindor. I got Goldfish. Let the girlfriend do the pick'ems again because she's been getting them a lot better than me. She just goes off the coolest logo, but I do think Goldfish will probably take it. I think it'll probably be 3 games. I want Iconic to win, but realistically, I think it'll be Goldfish.
We might have to get your girlfriend on the desk one of these days. I don't know. That seems like some pretty solid insight right there. Orion, who you got in this one?
I got Goldfish 2-0. I think Goldfish is going to. I do. I have a Goldfish 2-0. I think Goldfish is going to keep steamrolling the league. I think this team definitely has a lot of potential to be potentially the best team in Thursday's group, even over Horizon Gaming, if they're able to stay consistent and stay just like keep. I mean, right now, obviously they had a pretty easy schedule, but I mean, I've personally had the honor of scrimming this team with my team that I coach, and this team kind of just flatlined my team. So I definitely know what this team is capable of in a scrim setting. So if they're able to take that and translate it into a match, they definitely can be a very dominating team. So I have to wait and see if they're able to continue that level of success. But I do have personally a 2-0 tonight against Iconic.
All right, high praise from Orion there for the Goldfish Gaming squad. Toast, are you in accordance with the other two here, Goldfish all the way, or?
I'm going to give the iconic 2-1. Refuse
Ooh,
to elaborate.
I like it. You
Did
don't
you
want
say
to.
you refuse to elaborate?
Yeah, he doesn't want to back up his claim. He's just
Pleading the
putting
fifth.
it out.
No. It's not that I refuse. It's not that I don't want to back it up. It's just I think it speaks for itself, and there's power in that.
Cockroaches. Okay.
We'll just leave it like that. Obviously, Orion and Zone don't agree with you, but hey, I like to see some disagreement on the desk. Our fourth and final match of this week on the streams is going to be Grinchy Goons, Toast Your Own Team, taking on Horizon Gaming. This is second place versus ninth place, as the standings currently are at right now. And heading into week 4 for Grinchy Goons, they kind of have had a little bit of new life in the CCS, proving doubters wrong last week with their win over PGO. And we might be able to get a little bit of insider knowledge here, considering we have representatives from both of those teams. So I'm actually just going to hand this off to Toast. Do you think that was the start of a turnaround for your team here moving forward?
So I'm gonna say, beating like a middle of the pack team, like getting that win in there was pretty good for morale, right? Getting sort of righting our ship, as it were, and sort of proving where we were supposed to be, where we always believed that we were at, and we just sort of weren't able to put it together. Obviously, this week is the first time that we're actually gonna be able to put in our full roster for both games or all 3 games, whichever it is.
Does that mean that they're subbing you out, Toast?
Wow.
Because
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
the only roster that was able to win was you not playing, if I'm correct. So are you guys keeping it the same to win again? Or are you swapping out the Rengar one trick? He did his dues.
Now listen, we have a bit of a Bengi situation going on here.
Ah, the
We gotta
double
keep
jungle.
we gotta
Double
keep
jungle.
the cat on the leash. Cats on leashes so they don't go crazy. Um, I am coming back to prove that it wasn't just the team subbing me out, that I was the problem, um, because that was my first reaction after the win, is Toast is the problem. Confirmed.
The
But
results speak for themselves. That's a 2-0.
that's true. It's
That's
a
better than
2-0
we can do.
versus an 0-1, with me. That's the jungler. So, what can you do against that? However, putting aside the results-based analysis, I think we're coming in with more confidence than we've had before. We are coming in with a more solid game plan than we've had before, and I haven't been inting in solo queue, so it seems pretty good on that front.
All right, good to hear. Yeah, it's always nice to get that first win under your belt and start to build some confidence up. I want to get kind of the opposite perspective here from Zone. Was that a match last week, Zone, where you kind of just tip your hats to Grinchy Goons and go, "Hey, they played a good series," or was there kind of something that went wrong on your guys' side to kind of allow what most people I think would look at this as an upset victory from the Grinchy Goons?
I mean, no disrespect to them. There was a lot going on internally that was wrong. If you want to watch the VOD, it's on my stream. I think Flay said he's uploading it to the YouTube as well. We streamed them on CCS 3 because CCS lol doesn't want to stream the Grinchy. I guess they're too scared of the results, but it'd be like that, I guess. But I think there was a lot going on wrong with us. We should have banned the Rengar, but mistakes happen. We learned. We kind of did the same thing last split where we joke around a little too much, lose to the last place team, and then kick it in the high gear. So hats off to them. They did win. It was 2-0, so I'll give them that. But to be fair, I think game 2 was lost before it was ever even drafted, just mentally. It didn't matter what was drafted. That game was done, but that's okay. It happens.
A little bit of mental boom after that Rengar pop
Oh
off.
yeah.
That was?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I threw a headset. That was the first time in 6
Oh
years.
man, You hate to see it. Yeah, hopefully other teams going up against Grinchy Goons won't make the same mistake after seeing that performance there. So yeah, definitely hats off to them. Good for them to get some confidence. But looking back in at their matchup this week, taking on Horizon Gaming, who have looked very, very strong. Horizon have also made some roster changes. They added Gregorio into their roster for last week, I believe, and also got former Shadow Z, 80 carry, Decarius. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sorry if I'm not. So with those two players both on the main squad, Orion, do we think this team is still the team to beat in Thursday? Are they still kind of that top echelon of the Thursday conference?
I would say yes until someone actually proves that they're willing to make a competitive series against them. I do think with the additions of Gregorio and Decarius, I definitely do think that this team can potentially have a potential hiccup here and there because they haven't actually played a whole lot with each other. I know that obviously they still have Sultan around helping them a little bit, and he's speaking pretty high prices of them. So I definitely do think this team can still be top of the table. Obviously, they haven't played, Goldfish yet, and Goldfish is, um, up there as well in terms of the standings and potential to be a top team as well. Also, for a team like Grinchy Goons, they proved last week that they are able to take some games off of a pretty decent opponent. So hopefully, they're looking to do the same again against Horizon Gaming, but have to wait and see.
Yeah, so kind of looking at that from that perspective, obviously Horizon is going to be the heavy favorites heading into this game, just naturally by the fact that they're in second and, Grinchy Goons are closer towards the bottom of the standings. If Grinchy Goons can take a game off Horizon, not if they can win the series, but if they can take a game off of the second place Horizon, do we think they're a serious threat to make a push for playoffs? And Ryan, I'll send this back to you first.
So I think mathematically they don't win the series if it's a 1-3. Yeah, is that correct?
Yeah.
Let me take a look. Yes.
So obviously they'll have to make a pretty deep run in terms of winning like 3 to 4 series just back to back in order to put them into contention. It also really depends on like the middle of the pack teams, like in terms of like who wins and who takes the losses in some of those games.
Right.
I do think if some of the middle of the pack teams start trading off games, like we win one week, lose another week, and then Grinchy just keeps steamrolling teams and just keeps picking up win after win in the series, I do think they can make. I do think they could potentially make a push. It really just depends on the consistency that Grinchy Goons is able to keep up with. Obviously, they beat PGO last week, but if they beat PGO, but they lose to everyone else, like their win against PGO really doesn't matter in terms of like making playoffs or the grand scheme of things. So yeah, it's a great win against PGO, but can you do it each and every week? That's what we need to see out of Grinchy Goons.
Yeah, so looking at their next few matchups, obviously this week against Horizon Gaming, and then the next 3 weeks, they kind of have some middle of the pack teams that they're up against. They have TDR in week 5. Following that, they then have Shadow Z and then Crosspoint Origin. So Zone, considering a couple of these next series for them are going to be against the middle of the pack teams, I want you to give me an over or under end of the split. Grinchy Goons, are they over 6th place or under 6th place?
They are not over 6th place. No offense, Toast, but I think the middle of the pack, there's just a lot more better middle of the pack teams than there are like bottom. So realistically, I'm the math major. I gotta say lower.
Listen, I don't take offense at that. Middle of the pack knows what the middle of the pack is, So
I respect that. I respect that.
After taking you down last week, little bit of smack talk back and forth here. Tossed, obviously.
No. I'm smack talking on behalf of the team because they couldn't be here. I don't have any smack talk that I earned from that.
True.
That just means you're free of any sort of repercussions, right? You're just talking smack for the rest of your roster. So can't even clap back. That's a little unfair, I gotta say. But all right, let's get some predictions for this one. Orion, do you think Grinchy Goons are going to take a game, or are you thinking 2-0?
I think it's a 2-0. I think Horizon Gaming is very solid across the board. I think the addition of Gregorio has been working out really well for them, and also Decarius had some really solid games on some of the hyperscaling AD carries that we've been seeing be very dominant in the league. I also just think that Horizon Gaming's lanes are probably just going to be a little bit too good for Grinchy Goons. Obviously, they had the 2-0 against PGO, but I do think Horizon is not going to treat this team very lightly like the way PGO did. And I think it's going to be a 2-0 for Horizon.
Fair enough. Should take it a lot more seriously, especially after Grinchians, had that victory last week. So maybe a little bit more credit there on their side. Zone, I'm going to toss this one to you, and then we'll allow Toast to defend his team. What do you think on this one?
Toast, just for you, just because we lost, I'll give you guys the 2-1 because Gregorio's going to get stuck in traffic, is my prediction.
Ooh.
So you guys get game 1. I'll give you a 2-1, you know?
Oh, I thought you meant give us the 2-1 as in the win. Damn. Okay,
No. You guys are still
Damn.
losing, but you'll take a game.
Yeah.
You'll take a game.
Okay, I see how it is. Yeah.
What do you have to say for yourself and your team there, Toast?
So I know that it is hard to believe in the team. It is hard to look at our record and say that these guys can win at all. The only wins we have are against the team that was actually just like up in flames in front of our eyes. However, I don't just say this because I'm on the team. I think there is a high upside to the players that I have here. I think that we haven't always shown that. And I think coming in with the confidence that we have can propel us to the spot that I believe we should be at.
Which is?
You beat me
which is a 2-0 win.
All right.
Okay.
Lots of confidence coming out of Toast.
Listen, I'm better than this record. I believe our team is better than this record. And so I got to come in with that fucking confidence.
Where do you think end of the split?
End of the split is in pre-playoffs or post-playoffs?
Pre-playoffs.
Pre-playoffs? I'm just trying to think in my head here how many games we have left. I'd probably say top 5.
You think you guys top 5?
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Okay.
I'm a doubter. Prove me wrong.
Bet.
Great Goons with a lot of confidence coming off of that victory from last week.
Listen, you got to have the confidence. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain.
That is true.
Absolutely. Hey, backs up against the wall, nowhere to go but up, right? That's what Grinchy Goons are thinking here. That is going to do it for us today on the Analyst Desk. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Zone, Orion for being here today, being my analysts. And Toast, thanks for joining us tonight.
No, thank you for having me. It's always good to make a case for my team,
Absolutely. We appreciate having you on. All right, everybody. We do have some League of Legends coming up here in about 20 minutes or so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back onto the Rift with some best of 3s for the CCS. What's up, League of Legends fans? It's time for some CCS Wednesday conference action. It is week 4. Today, my name is Lindor, here with Orion, and we have TA Light versus TA Knight on the ledger right now. Two sister teams going at it head-to-head on the Rift.
Yeah, this should be a pretty banger of a matchup. We have TA Light sitting at 3-0, and we have TA Knight sitting at 2-1.
Yep.
While TA Knight has dropped a series, the series they dropped was Hard Hat Zone, and Hard Hat Zone has been one of the best teams of Wednesday's group, so definitely not surprising there. So definitely really interested to see just how this series goes as we are getting into pick and ban here for the side of TA Light, respecting AoE Kobe here a little bit with the Tom Kench ban.
Yeah, so TA Light on the blue side here for game 1. As you can see, TA Knight on the opposite side. Love the respect ban out of that Tom Kench. Last week we saw Kobe put on an absolute show on that champion, winning matchups that he really had no business in winning. But picks coming through, or bans rather coming through here pretty fast. Are you going to be taking away Seraphine as well? And on the other side, TA Knight not wanting to see Jinx or Zeri able to head into the bot side.
Yeah, usually on blue side, you're able to have a much more liberty in terms of like you can kind of just ban away picks that are like less like OP champs, and you're able to pick an OP champ for yourself. TA Knight has to respect the Jinx and the Zeri. And they also feel like Dr. Phil and Chill's mid lane Vagar is just such a nasty pick. TA Light opting into picking Xayah on
Yeah.
B1, champion that hasn't been B1 for a very long time, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Caitlyn is still up. Jin's still available, but Xayah, I think, is relatively strong. Did just get a couple of buffs in terms of her crit scaling, so that
Mhm.
should be feeling pretty good there. On the other side here for Knight, it is an Ivern hover. I would love to see the Ivern come in here, but I don't think that's going to be the pick. It is just going to be the Varus here for all Varric. Basically a one-trick Varus player in solo queue, and with no respect ban coming out for that one, he's going to be more than happy to pick up that champ.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy has like 2.3 million master points on this guy. So definitely knows how to play this champion. We saw it in lock-in. The guy was dominating on that pick. We're also seeing the Ornn coming in from AoE Kobe. You know, the guy has been playing a lot of Tom Kench, so he definitely is more of the tanky / supportive style in that top lane for sure. Making sure that his mid and his AD carry are able to pull out more of those carry champions and definitely look to succeed a lot more. So definitely just taking away that pick, saying there's nothing that TA Light can pick against me that I'm afraid of with this Ornn pick. So definitely something to say in terms of the draft. Gragas coming in, probably going into the top side here for TA Light, a champion that can very easily nullify this lane. It's gonna be a bunch of wet noodles fighting that top lane for sure. And then Thresh coming in, taking away from TA Knight, I feel like it's a really solid pick. I think for TA Knight, you're probably looking at another aggressive support for them. Could look for the Nautilus. Could even look for the Blitzcrank that Snow Life played last time, which can be a traditional counter into Thresh. Zillion
Ooh.
coming in could be support, could be mid.
Hmm.
Have to wait and see. But it is a very flexible pick in this draft.
Yeah, a couple of flex picks actually coming through here. Spoozy does also play Gragas jungle, so that one could be flexed between top and jungle. Zillion, like you already called out there, Orion, likely to go in the hands of Snow Life. Really does like that champion, provides a lot of safety for their carries, and especially for Alveric. But yeah, we've seen it being played across lots of pro games in the mid lane as well. So curious to see where that one will go. Bans coming through here, looking to see some mid lane focus. TA Light banning away the Nico, something we saw Hadio piloting last week. Victor and Vex taking away a couple strong picks here in the mid lane, and Lissandra as well. Looks like TA Light are really trying to limit some of the engage tools that Hadio can have here.
Yeah, I still feel like there's a lot of champions that Hacho can play that are still left up and available. I don't think his pool is being pinched by any means. So as also for TA Knight, you're definitely picking a jungler here. You're not picking your mid laner because you still want to have that flexibility with a Zillion depending on where it wants to go. Also, with the bans, they're probably signaling that they don't think the Zillion is going in the mid lane. They think it's actually going support, or else you'd be banning out different supports and stuff like that. Trundle coming in, a solid pick into the Xayah, not so much into the Thresh because once the Lantern comes down, Xayah is able just to get away scot free. So we'll have to wait and see if TA Light support is able to play at a high level on this Thresh. So, but overall, Trundle still a very solid early game champion with the speed ups from Zillion. You're able to kind of just chase down people with your own speed up from your frozen domain. So honestly, I like the champion a lot. I think it also works really well with the Zillion and the Ornn. Jarvan coming in
Ooh.
is a very interesting pick. They do have some pretty low mobility on the side of TA Knight.
Yeah.
But they do have the Ornn. Ornn can actually break the Cataclysm with his headbutt. Well, I don't think it's his headbutt, but his like charge forward
Searing
ability.
charge.
Yeah, searing charge. It actually breaks opposing terrain. It won't break his trundles, but it won't break Trundle Pillar, but it will break
Interesting.
Jarvan's Cataclysm. And we do see Corki coming in
Mhm.
saying, "Hey, you guys don't have much range on your composition. I can just poke from afar and be fine."
Yeah, Corki definitely a scaling mid laner that we've seen kind of fall out of the meta a little bit, but still
Mhm.
definitely does have a place. This team composition from TA Light, I think, is exactly what we were expecting. We were expecting them
Yeah.
to draft for scaling carries and bot and mid. They've got the Zion, the Corki. They've got some frontline in the way of the Jarvan and of course the Gragas. Some engage, some playmaking ability for cynical support, who we know loves these hook champions. So I think they've drafted towards their win conditions, and same thing here for TA Knight. You know, they've got Varus on Elveric. He's exceptionally happy to see that. Trundle and Ornn, I think, can be a super deadly combo, like you were already calling out there, Orion. And now it's Echo in the mid lane for them, so something that can provide maybe a little bit of extra dive, which I think is something they're lacking a little bit in this composition.
Yeah, I think that the skirmishing power of TA Knight definitely is better. I think you add Echo and Trundle into this composition, you definitely can wreak a lot of havoc. The one thing that they don't actually have is just a lot of range on this composition. They do have Varus poke,
Mhm.
so they are able to poke down a little bit. But I do think Corki's poke is just a little bit better than what Varus would be able
Yeah.
to bring, especially in the mid game. One of the main reasons Corki is falling off in terms of like his presence in professional play is his package timing.
Yes.
It got delayed a lot. It got delayed all the way to 10 minutes, and then you can pick it up every 5 minutes
Yeah.
after you use it the first time. So you kind of have to make up your mind depending on whether you want to use it for Herald or you want to use it for Dragon. You kind of can't use them for both every single time now. Like you can't use it for every single drag or every single like a major objective on the map. Which is like, Corky's package was a thing that was just like super threatening. On
Yeah.
anytime you go for an objective, you have to deal with this champion in some sort of way. But I also do think TA Light's disengage is really, really good. You have Gragas, you have Thresh being able
Yeah.
to keep Echo and Trundle off of Saya and Corki.
Mhm.
So it's going to be up to TA Knight to definitely get really good picks off in terms of a lot of these team fights with the Ornn, maybe even Zillion Bomb or like an Echo Stun or a Varus ultimate coming through to kind of like lock down these key members. But if Saya and Corki aren't getting locked down by TA Knight, I definitely think these guys can just run over a team fight.
So I wanted to take a look here at Alveric's match history just to
Mhm.
see what sort of Varus builds that they're tending to go for. It looks like it's actually pretty flexible. I'm seeing some Shield Bow into Gwynsu's builds as well as some Eclipse Shireldas with Manamune. What style do you think is better in this scenario, Orion? I feel like with some of these beefy frontliners, maybe it's just better to try and shred through that because the Echo is going to struggle to kill both the Gragas and the Jarvan, so I feel like it's all going to be the Varus' job to kind of cut through that front line.
Yeah, one thing that Varus always had is he's always had a lot of flexibility in terms of what he's able to build pathwise. Typically, we've been seeing. I think in lock-in we saw Very pick Hella Plates, and he
Right.
went the more of the sniping combination. I think he went Dustblade, or he might have went
Yeah,
Eclipse.
I think you're right. I think it was Duskblade in that match.
Yeah, so I think he might have went Dustblade. He went more or less to the pure lethality in terms of like he was just doing so much damage with Qs.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely a way. Like if he feels like he is just stomping the early game enough, and he's able to translate all of that power that he has in that build to have a lot of success early on, it could be very strong for him. But I think if you're wanting more consistent damage, you're probably looking at like the shield bow, and just looking to just be like the front line, like lethal tempo type thing, where Varus can just sit still and just do so much damage with his auto attacks. But I think we'll kind of get to see kind of how this game goes. I feel like rune choice will definitely determine a lot of what Varus is looking to do. If we see Halo Blades, or if we see something like even potentially even a Dark Harvest for some reason, that definitely speaks that he's going more the lethality route. If we see the lethal tempo, then that's most likely going to be the on hit build that Varus can build. So I have to wait and see what his rune choice is this game.
Yeah, it really is going to depend. I think you're absolutely right on how the team overall wants to play
Mhm.
the fights out. Do they want to go toe to toe in the team fights against this very scary Corki Zaya composition, or do they want to play more for the poke and the picks with the Varus? Of course, has the ultimate available to try and lock people down and look for the picks if that's the sort of strategy they want to go for. So yeah, we'll definitely keep track of that as we do head in. One thing that I want to talk about in this draft before we do go to break here as the teams load on is Snow Life on the Zillion. Not necessarily something that we're used to seeing out of Snow Life. He has had a couple games on it, and don't get me wrong, I think that he is fantastic on the champion, but it doesn't give him as much agency as a Nautilus or something like that to start these fights off to look to be the playmaker for the team.
Yeah, it's the playmaking definitely going to go into the hands of Hachio and well, specifically the top side of the map for sure. I mean, obviously Yolveric, if he gets an opportunity to ulti someone, he can root them in place,
Mhm.
and a lot of the ensuing CC can come afterwards.
Yeah.
But in terms of looking to get picks, looking to make plays, it's going to be really on Hachio and AoE Kobe and a lot of these team fights to make sure they're landing the key stun or the key knockups to actually ensue a lot of these team fights. But in terms of like an easier composition to do, I definitely favor TA Light in this one in terms of like being able to poke from afar,
Mhm.
consistent team fighting damage, and just two really beefy frontlining units that you can't just run through. That
Mhm.
like which is what Echo and Trundle really want to do. They want to get past those frontline units and try to beat up on the Corki and the Zaya, but it's gonna be hard to get through a Gragas and a Jarvan.
Absolutely will. We'll see how TA Knight do want to play it. I think that for TA Light, especially in this bot lane matchup, Cynical Support is going to be the player that I want to watch, see if he can get something done with those hooks in lane, but also just looking to roam and influence the map. Because I think if this team can get even just a small lead through the early stages, they're going to be so happy to just scale up with the picks that they have in their composition here. So we are going to take a little step back here, just a couple minutes before we do load onto the Rift. But game one between the sister teams is coming right up, so don't go anywhere.
Everybody panic! Hold on! I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Da-da-da-da. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift, everybody, for Game 1 of TA Light versus TA Knight. My name is Lindor, here with Orion. And Orion, a couple interesting rune choices here. It is going to be the Arcane Comet here for Alveric. You're suspecting that that means it is going to be more the poke style for the Varus here. It is going to be the Glacial Augment choice for the Thresh. That's something a little bit more common now, as we do see Reedy stepping forward, eating a little bit of damage, but does get a ward down there. Otherwise, seems fairly standard here for the rest of the rune choices.
Yeah, I'd say the comment. So Yoveric's probably he's wanting a little bit more of a lane presence in the situation. He definitely kind of like it does signal to be a little bit more poke, in my opinion. Obviously, if he wanted to go more of the on hit version, he would definitely opt in for lethal tempo, maybe even sorry, excuse me, maybe even Halo Blades if he really wanted those quick auto attacks in quick succession. But overall, pretty standard 5-point here. Both teams not really getting much of an access to either the enemy team's jungle. So we're not going to get a clear identity in terms of like what both teams want to do. It does look like both junglers are actually going to look to be pathing down to make a bit of an impact on this bot side early on.
Yeah, jungler starting top side and bot lane here. Cynical support and ADC are setting up a little bit of a bush cheese, it looks like. Okay, no, they just actually want to pull the wave. So not having to leash, they want to just get this wave coming back into them ideally. Just wanting to slow push, I do believe. We'll see how they exactly want to go for that. But yeah, jungler starting on the top side of the map. Reedy already pathing towards this bot side. See what the route wants to be for this Trundle. I'm expecting it to be the blue buff into the Gromp into maybe a potential level 3 gank if he wants to go for it. Otherwise, just pathing back towards that top side.
Yeah, I think Trundle's early ganks are actually really good, especially into the champions like, the Saya. And you can just kind of walk at her, you can throw the pillar, make sure she flashes, or you can flash first. But with the early pull that Thresh is able to do, this lane is automatically going to push against them. So really good job by Cynical Support actually making sure that, he knows his jungler wants to path down, so he understands that this wave can be in a pretty good position for the Jarvan and less of a good position for the Trundle in this case. But with the wave crashing into the tower, the wave is actually going to bounce back in the favor of TA Knight here, which could result in a potential Trundle gank, and he is walking down into this bush. Hook lands.
No land. Cynical not going to take the second Q, but Snow Life actually looking very, very low here. Heal from Alveric is going to keep him alive, and now Reedy has arrived. That's going to be a really nice pillar auctioning them off, and now it's going to be the flash forward, the Q through the back, and it's first blood onto Alveric.
Yeah, just really good timing there for Trundle, not expecting that he would be down there so early. It's 3 minutes. He's only done 3 camps, opting into skipping most of his jungle camps. Jarvan doing a pretty unsuspected full clear here. Champion that isn't really known for his full clearing ability, but he is trying to sneak into the spot side. He is sitting on a ward, so Yolveric and Snow Life should be pretty safe, especially with Trundle in the area. But really good kill there, really good timing on Reedy and the bot lane and TA Knight, and a good kill so far for them.
I really thought for a second that Spoozy was going to face check in Reedy, who was just going to smack him down with all his Trundle damage. But Reedy did exit the bushes. Mid lane. Nice gank attempt here from Spoozy is going to get the flash out of Hadyo. Not going to have that one available for the next 5 minutes. This mid lane could start to get some more attention here.
Yeah, a bit of a respect flash there from Hadyo. If Hadyo doesn't flash immediately, we could see the Jarvan EQ flash combination where he could actually do a lot of damage. Spoozy still potentially looking. He is placing a ward, so he will know that Trundle is going to be approaching here very soon. I have to wait and see how that plays out. Does look like he's kind of just backing away for the moment.
Smite available for Spoozy, not available for Reedy, so if he does want to try and steal this one, he should be able to, but is actually just going to take the safer route and back away. Dr. Phil and Chill says, hey, yeah, I just want to pick up these creeps in the mid lane, try to get this wave crashing under tower so that I can get a reset, so he will do exactly that. And Spoozy not going to get anything for that little invade attempt. Now heading towards the top side, though. Has cleared all his camps, like you said, Orion, and now just looking to get the gank train rolling. Kobe, though, playing with respect, has the lane pushing back into him, and so is just going to be able to dash away and be perfectly all right.
Yeah, Spoozy wasting a little bit of time there. I feel like even if he tries to go for that gank there, I feel like he's just wasting his time in terms of his camps are respawning, so he's going to be a little bit behind on what the Trundle actually is looking to do. Trundle's already got a gank off, and he's still able to keep up in terms of what he's actually to do on his home camp. So good job by Reedy so far. Heavy trading on top lane.
Coming forward, some heals coming forward here for Souter as he does get the passive going there. Kobe, I thought for a second, might have had a kill angle, but now Souter recalling in this bush. Reedy is in the area. Kobe stepping forward, wanted to try and keep him in the area. Trundle Pillar is not quite going to come down to interrupt any sort of exit plan, and so with the body slam, Souter is able to create enough space to get himself into safety.
Yeah, it looked for a second there that his wave was going to be in a really bad position for him. It looked like the wave was actually just kind of getting close to the tower. AoE Kobe having to push this wave out because he knows it's going to be crashing into his team. We are seeing Hajo here looking for a potential stun. Not quite with Corki. Well, Corki has Valkyrie, so that's just really hard for him to actually land. Basically, that this entire game. But so far, a pretty relatively easy start besides the gank in the bottom lane. Not a whole lot of action. Mostly teams just farming it out, trying to figure out what both teams really want to do. They should know that the Trundle is on the bot side of the map due to his natural clearing. So they should be looking to place some type of wards here soon, or try to gain some type of knowledge where Trundle actually looking, because he could look for a repeat gank, knowing that ADC ARAM has no flash.
Hadio's going to walk into Spoozy here, going to get knocked up with the flag and drag. Knows that he has Reedy in the area. Now backing off, the bot roam is going to be first here for TA Light. ARAM and Cynical Support are in the area. Death Sentence not going to be thrown out just yet. Nice stun there from Snow Life is going to spot them out. And nothing really going to come from a short little engagement here. Orion, both these teams playing this early game very slowly, thinking things through, making sure that they're not making any sort of silly mistakes early on.
Yeah, and I probably say that's in the favor of TA Light here. They have nice Corki scaling. They have honestly really solid lanes that you want to kind of play through towards the last like 25 to 30 minutes of the game. Obviously, Xayah scaling in terms of what she's looking to do. If the Varus does decide to go the lethality route, Xayah will do more consistent damage in most of these team fights than what Varus will be able to do. But Varus will have the advantage in terms of just like poking the Varus out, poking the Xayah out in some of these team fights. But for Corki, for Gragas, they definitely want to be the ones scaling up. Obviously, Echo kind of wants to be the ones looking to make all these plays, which he's definitely looking to do in the mid lane. They just haven't quite landed here for him some of these plays. But for TA Light, they're definitely fine just chilling out, letting this game kind of scale out. And for TA Knight, they definitely do have some scaling of their own. They have the Ornn, which he is looking top lane.
Coming through, Kobe is going to land that knock-up, has the brittle proc, but Souter with the body slam is feeling pretty safe in this lane. Kobe playing this aggressively. I like to see it from this Ornn. He realizes, like, Dragon just got taken. There's no way my ultimate's really going to be needed for a team play in the next couple of minutes, so I might as well try and use it here and get the solo kill. It isn't able to find enough damage to get it, but I like the threat ideas from Kobe, who actually now is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Really nice barrel there from Souter, going to suck him back in. Has the flash available. Flag and Drag will be coming through. AoE Kobe with the flash away, but now he's getting autoed down by Spoozy, trying to go unstoppable, but it's not going to matter. Souter TP's back to the lane and picks up the first kill for TA Light.
Yeah, just a little greedy on AoE Kobe's end. I mean, obviously, it's kind of hard for him to know that Jarvan is in the area until he sees the Jarvan on the ward. And by the time he greeted for that tower play, it's already a little too late. But it does look like TA Knight is trying to answer in this bottom side. We do see Echo roaming into the bot lane. He is past level 6, so he is able to dive in and just get out with his ultimate.
Barrel convergence does come down. The stun is going to be landing the barrel, or rather the bombs will follow it up. Can he press R? Hadyo just barely able to get that Echo ultimate off. Almost the CC chain, causing him to tank a few too many tower shots there, but it is going to be another kill into their AD carry. Alveric here, 2-0, couple long swords in his inventory. Definitely suspect that he's building up towards maybe the Eclipse or the Duskblade or something like that.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, for Hagio here on this Echo, he definitely wants to be the one looking to make these kind of roam plays. He definitely has the push advantage over Corki. I feel like once Corki starts getting a little bit more levels, he can kind of try and keep Echo in this lane, but all Echo has to do is probably push Q on the wave twice, and he kind of just executes the wave fairly early on into this game, so he does actually have that push presence, and he's opting into saying, hey, I can give up a wave.
Ooh. Dr. Phil and Chill has to be careful here. Really nice pillar there from Reddy. Is going to block him off. Does have the flash available. Is going to use that one here to get some space. Parallel convergence there from Hadyo. Not quite going to be able to find any sort of follow-up, but that's going to be a nice chunk of damage here, pushing Dr. Phil and Chill out of the lane, and Hadyo should be able to equalize here the CS discrepancy, able to push this lane in and cause Dr. Phil to miss a wave.
Yeah, the one thing so far that's in really good hands for TA Knight is that they do have Yolberic sitting on a very nice CS lead. The one thing we talked about with this Varus is that he can be a very lane-dominating champion if you're just continuously landing your poke, along with, the Zillion as well. The Zillion poke, if he's able to land a stun, the bomb into a stun, into a Varus Q, that's a lot of poke damage that, for Xayah, she can't necessarily sustain a whole lot of that. We are seeing Jarvan going to lane, another flash.
Audio immediately has to flash out of the flag and drag. We saw him have to blow that flash earlier on in this game, but unfortunately for Spoozy, the return gank there just not in time to take advantage of the summoner spell being on cooldown. So Audio once again will find some safety. Has teleport to return to this lane if they need to, and will expend that one to get back out on the map.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, if you're Hagio, you know, you're blowing your flash twice in this Corky lane is very pretty upsetting for him because he really wants that flash so he can really make a lot of these aggressive plays. Now, Dr. Phil and Chill does have Spoozy in his back pocket, so he is able to play very aggressively here. But Yoveric still being able to press a lot in this bot lane, and if we are taking a look at this gold graph here in the bottom side, we are seeing about a 1,700 gold lead in the hands of Yoveric at this early stage of the game. That's a lot of gold.
Definitely is. It's almost their entire lead. Is this going to be the return gank into the mid lane? Spoozy is here, but Reedy and Kobe are on the chase down. They want to go for this. The ultimate for the Echo is available if he wants to use that chrono break, but doesn't have to expend it here just yet. Looks like TA Light will be retreating from the area. But yeah, Alveric down here on the bot side has almost knocked 4 plates off of this tower, has close to a 30 CS lead in this lane, is up a level against ADC ARAM, so really the majority of this lead for TA Knight is on Alveric, and I think he has been really the main carry for this squad, so the gold in the right place going forward.
Yeah, Dr. Phil and Chill is looking with the package as well, potentially, if they are going to continue to be up and aggressive in this lane. Swizzy potentially getting caught out.
It does have the flag and drag. Audio again, one not quite in range to follow up on that one. Just so much mobility here from the mid-jungle duo of TA Light in the Corky and the Jarvan. They are looking to push forward and try to keep stacking these dragons. Like you talked about, this package is in for Dr. Phil and Chill. He wants to try and use it to force TA Knight off of this objective. Trying to get some poke down with these rockets. They don't really chunk super hard just yet. Just tickling Reedy there a little bit on that one. It is just the Manamune here for Dr. Phil and Chill. But the package is where the damage is going to come. That's going to be the hook down onto Snowlife. Has the ultimate available. Is going to look for the root on to the enemy support. Cynical support comes through as that's going to be the Ornhorn onto the back line. They claim one as the supports are actually traded back and forth. Now, it is going to be the Cataclysm onto the backside. Alveric is just at 1 HP. He's trying to run for the hills. We'll have the Blast Cone over the wall, but the fight still ensuing in the front lines. Reedy is going to be looking worse for wear. Spoozy might be falling down here as well as both the junglers looking a little bit low. Kobe stepping forward, trying to finish that one off, but he's not going to be able to. And now he's going to be the target. The flash body slam from Souter, and they'll clean up the rest of the fight. Alveric still waiting in the wings here, but he's just going to get found out. Flag and drag, see ya later. And that's going to be an objective claim for TA Light.
Oh, that team fight was almost played so well by TA Light. We saw UBC Sonder going for that flash play. He was just a second too late on his explosive cast. I think he was a little bit greedy on his rotation of spells. I think when you're going for that type of play, you have to E, flash, and then explosive class E immediately, or else the cast is going to come out a little bit delayed. But really well played out team fight there for TA Light. Executing on a lot of what their champions really want to do. You know, Yoveric not able to do a lot of consistent DPS due to the fact that Jarvan exploded him as soon as the fight started, you know, because the hook lands onto Snowlife. So you're like, okay, team fight has to start now, or like both teams are just gonna lose one way or another. But Jarvan almost executing Yoveric immediately means he was only able to do, I think, maybe 1 or 2 Qs that entire fight, which meant the rest of the consistent DPS from the Xayah and the Corki was able to come through, which means a team fight victory over to TA Light here.
I think the team fights might look a little bit different for TA Knight if they can get some good poke damage before the fight ensues. The only problem with that, though, is I feel like you're just going to get out-poked by this Corki, right? Eventually, he's going to have the Luden's Tempest and the Manamune, of course, which is already stacking up quite quickly. I'm not sure that the poke out of Alveric is going to be meaningful enough for them to really be able to play out those fights the way that maybe they want to with this composition. But absolutely have to give the hats off to TA Light, playing that team fight out beautifully, finding the correct targets, the death sentence initially onto Snowlife, forcing him out of the fight, and then, like you say, Spoozy finding out Alveric, killing him even though he has both his summoners available, and able to clean up the rest of the fight on the back of Souter's outplay. Kobe in the top side here, starting to fall a little bit behind. It looks like it is Souter with a little bit of a CS lead here. Is now 2-0-1, has Turbo Chem Tank available, and so this main source of engage for TA Light fully online and ready to go.
Yeah, we are seeing the roam up into the mid lane here, so that way, because they did secure the bot tower. Cynical is in a good position.
Parallel Convergence is actually not going to find anyone. Hook comes through. That's going to be the Cataclysm as well. Hajo has the ultimate available. Going to turn back time there and make sure that he's not the subject of the rest of the focus there from the enemy team. But now Reedy and Kobe into the fight. Call of the Forge God is going to land onto 2. Snowlife with the bombs. Very nice stun as Alveric's going to rip the piercing arrow through the back of the team fight. They are going to find some shutdown gold onto the enemy top laner here. Can they push for the first tower of the game? Actually, sorry, they already claimed that one in the bot side. Spoozy on the flank. Not willing to dive into the middle of 3 enemy champions. So it will be the 1 pickoff kill and the tower going over to TA Knight. They've reclaimed the gold lead here.
Yeah, a good decision there for Spoozy not diving into 1v4. He didn't necessarily have a lot of backup around him. It could have looked potentially with the Xayah feathers. It does look like they are trying to protect or contest this Rich Herald spawning. TP is coming in for the Gragas into the mid lane. Echo is around the area as well, but Sauter does have potential here for a looking.
Yeah,
doesn't have explosive gas though.
Do have to evacuate the premises here. Looking like they were going to get pinched there from 2 sides for a moment. Spoozy's going to say, hey, thanks for the leash, man. We'll try and take this one over, and with the rest of his team in the area, should be you! That was almost stolen away there by the piercing arrow from Alveric, but luckily for Spoozy, is able to pick it up, and that's going to be another objective over to the side of TA Knight.
It does look like they're actually posturing to place even the Herald, or even just 4 minutes tower. Herald coming down does mean that this Herald is going to secure their first tower of the game in the mid lane here. ADC Aram potentially getting caught out, but no, not like just making sure the Herald is able to crash down into that lane. And we are seeing Dr. Phil and Chill in the side lane trying to get as much gold as possible, because we have seen this Corki, when he gets the gold, when he gets the items, he can be a monster in a lot of these late game team fights with all the poke damage that's going to be coming through for him. But going back to that last team fight, one of the things I talked about was how AoE Kobe and Hagio have to play these team fights out really, really well. We saw AoE Kobe's ultimately coming through, landing onto the top laner of TA Light, and then all the chain CC coming through, allowing Yulverik to land down that poke at the very end was very, very crucial for them in securing that mid lane tower. And that's what we're going to have to see for probably the rest of the game in order for TA Knight to continue to find successes in a lot of these team fights.
Absolutely true. There's not really too much that they can do if they can't find those backlane targets, which you talked about a little bit in draft there, Orion. Xayah has a lot of safety too, so I feel like maybe the Corki has to be the main target. Obviously, they were able to cut through the Gragas there, and any pickoff is going to be feeling pretty good for this team. But yeah, definitely have to look for those ultimate abilities to provide a lot of value in these fights. So it is going to be a dragon spawning here in about 10 seconds. Both teams converging on the area. Hadio has just TP'd into the bot side to try and remain in the area for this team. And both teams looking to fight for some vision control around the dragon. No Mythic completed for this quirk yet, stopping off for the Tiamat, so those rockets aren't going to be chunking too hard just yet. Is still fishing for some poke.
There goes Hagio.
Look at this. Hadio's on the flank. Oh my goodness, this could be huge. Parallel Convergence is actually not going to find its mark. It is going to be them into the back of the fight. Oh my goodness, look at the flay. It's on to 4. Cynical support goes golden as Hagio tries to grab the backline, but there's nothing he can do, and he just gets taken out. It's a double kill for Xayah as they want to continue going forward. Dr. Phil and Chill and ADC Aram still untouched in this fight, and it's gonna be a triple kill for their AD carry. Dragon will now be the target. Reedy is still in the area, but I don't think he's got a hope or a prayer on stealing this one. Does have flash and smite, but is getting well and truly zoned out of this one. The fight goes over to TA Light. The Dragon soul point goes over to them as well, and I'm starting to feel like this is their game to win.
Yeah, that team fight starting out looks really good for TA Knight. It looked like the Echo stun was going to come onto 3 members. Orenhorn was going to come over top, but all of a sudden we see Quirky package. We see Xayah ultimate ability coming out, where they just completely dodge out on both those abilities, and then we see Sauter and Cynical support basically giving their lives away to stop the initial advances of what TA Knight was looking to do. And then towards the middle of the fight, we actually saw a misclick from Snowlife, ulting AoE Kobe instead of Yulverik, causing Yulverik to die in the process of that fight instead of getting respawned. It's a wasted Cillian ulti, and then a couple of key misses with their leads to a team fight with TA Light, and Sauter is looking on Yulverik. Good flash.
Yeah, Yulverik just immediately has to burn that flash, playing with a little bit of disrespect there, trying to get some poke damage down onto ADC Aram, but definitely not the correct opportunity to look for any sort of play like that. Hadio on the top side might be the target here. Souter trying to wrap around on him. Hadio juking in and out of the bushes here. Has the parallel convergence. Is going to get knocked up. Teleport from AoE Kobe to try and save his mid laner. But Hadio has the dash, is trying to get away. Now has the ultimate as Cataclysm does come through. The knockup from Kobe, though, is not going to find its mark. And now they're going to continue trying to chase forward. Both teams looking to join on the top of the map. Corki's going to be TPing in. It is Alberic a little bit slow to this fight. Reading in the front lines. This is going to be the target. Nice stun from Snowlife comes through. Call of the Forge God is onto 3. This could be the fight from TA Knight. They find 1. Cynical support looking very, very low. That's a big knockup from AoE Kobe. And now Alberic has joined the fray. They're going to continue pushing forward. Snowlife will be going down. Kobe lives with an inch of HP. And it is TA Knight able to strike back here in the top side.
And not only that, but Baron is on the map for TA Knight. And I think they have the health bars and the resources available to even secure this. They are sending Ornn back to base. He does not have TP, so this is a 4v2 for a little bit. But it doesn't look like Corki and Xayah are actually opting in to fighting over this Baron. And this is going to be a huge gold swing over the way of TA Knight, as this game was looking dead even. But one mistake by TA Light is going to lead to a gold swing of about probably 3 to 4k at the end of this Baron.
Not even considering anything that they can get with the push with this Baron buff. Orion, you've highlighted this so well in this game. The ultimate from AoE Kobe and the dive from Hadio has to be good in these fights. And right there, the Ornn ultimate, as well as his knock-up against the wall, making such a big difference in that team fight. Hats off to Kobe there, really providing exactly what the team needed in order to find their way back into this game. Now they are Baron buffed up, should have that available for the next couple of minutes, can hopefully use the pressure gained to set up for this next dragon and prevent that soul point from going over to TA Light.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they were looking for on that topside play on Hachio there, because Hachio, we saw he had his ultimate ability, and you can tell by the little passive trail that the Echo ultimate does lead that you know that he has his ultimate available. So using Cataclysm, using Gragas' explosive cast before Echo even ulties in that fight was a bit of an overstep by TA Light, which does lead to an overchase and just being just way out of position by them and just getting caught out by TA Knight there. So have to wait and see how this Baron play ends up playing out. They do have Varus pokes. They do have some pretty good siege potential, along with the Zillion as well coming over the top. So we'll have to wait and see if the wave clear TA Light is going to be good enough to kind of stop them from taking a lot of these objectives. But I think for the most part, you're probably going to see the tier 2 mid going down here in the next couple of seconds here, just due to the amount of pressure that they're able to put on this.
Oh, they might want to go for a dive. Gonna find the Forge God onto Dr. Phil and Chill, but really just looking for that as a zoning tool to try and claim that tower, trying to balloon their gold lead as much as they can before this ensuing soul fight. They need to be able to contest for that soul, because Hextech Dragon onto this team fighting composition here from TA Light is so scary. Alberic continuing to pressure, continuing to pepper in some of these piercing arrows, finding the mark with almost every single one here. Able to chunk out Spoozy a little bit, finding a couple of those onto ADC ARAM as well. And I want to see what they want to do with this last minute of the Baron buff. It's 40 seconds until Dragon spawns. They might want to try and reset onto the map, try and get a few more control wards in their inventory and things like that to set up for this Dragon. But for the time being, they do have full control of the bottom side of the map, some good vision control around this red side jungle as well as in the Dragon pit. And they're just continuing to try and keep Cynical support and Spoozy out of the area and defend their vision.
Yeah, I think the one thing that TA Knight... Oh, Hadio's looking.
Hadio looking for the parallel convergence, is not going to find it, but Spoozy does have to use his flash to get away from a potential follow-up there. Alberic using his ultimate, Hadio as well expending his here. Package has been grabbed for Dr. Phil and Chill, but they're now... Oh, they're looking for a TP flank, maybe? No, they just TP'd into the fight. All right, my bad. That's the wrong TP. That was Kobe TPing into the pit there. Hadio now TPing into the bot side, is going to look to rejoin his team. Couple of ultimates still off cooldown, or still on cooldown. Kobe still waiting a few seconds for his. Hadio and Alberic just used theirs as well. All 5 of ultimates available on the other side for TA Light. Dragon now on the map, and both the teams contesting around the area. Reedy and Kobe looking to play frontline for the squad. Alberic stepping forward, looking to get some poke down, but the Corki rockets turning it onto them as well. No Ludens in yet. The Lost Chapter and those Sork shoes are providing a lot of work here on these rockets, and it looks like they have managed to push their way into the pit. Dr. Phil and Chill does have to expend the package there on the retreat, but now here comes the engage. Call of the Forge God is going to land onto the backline. A couple of these arrows have found Spoozy and Dr. Phil a little bit low. Hadio and Reedy playing this touch and go very gently. Now Reedy going to step forward. Subjugate is going to go down, but they're not going to find any sort of follow-up. Dragon now will be the target. Will now reset into the pit. Both these teams playing back and forth. Look at that rocket coming in. Going to provide a lot of damage. Reedy stepping forward. Hadio's got the flight. He's going to find parallel convergence onto all 3 maybe even 4, and now the fight will ensue in full. Reedy in the backside, Spoozy diving forward, ADC is still alive. Kobe trying to do what he can, but I don't think he can do very much. Alveric is already dead. Snowlife trying to do what he can, trying to provide some peels and shields here for Reedy, who still stands tall. Hodjo still alive. 3v3 on the map. No jungler available here for Light, but Reedy is going to get found out. Hodjo goes forward and finds ADC ARAM. Reedy trying to bop down this Gragas. He's got the heals, he's got the shield, he's got the chomp. Not quite going to be able to finish off the kill here just yet. Will flash forward and claim that one. Such a close fight here for both sides, but TA Knight barely able to scrape a team fight victory. Or have they just yet? Dr. Phil wanting to look to rejoin. Does going to have to Valkyrie out of the bombs from Snowlife, finding some damage here back and forth, but Hodjo is on the hunt, wanting to go forward. Has the parallel convergence, has the damage, and he's going to get the flash out of Dr. Phil and chill. Reedy still on this dragon, should be able to claim it now fairly easily. Smite is available, will grab it, so they will not allow the soul to go over, but Orion, what a fight here from both sides.
Yeah, and now is such a touch and go moment for both teams. I know, like, as a spectator, you have to be watching that. Like, you're on your toes the entire time. Like, if both teams just like one slight mistake, and all of a sudden the team fight just goes to boom. You know, I thought there was a couple of moments where both teams could have been a little bit more aggressive, especially TA Light. A lot of poke was landing onto Reedy and even onto Yolveric, where like they could have potentially looked for a Cataclysm or looked for an explosive cast. Also, Hodjo, for most of that fight, didn't even have his ultimate ability available.
Right.
So the fight lasted for such a long time that he was able to use it bot lane. Then he's actually able to use it in the dragon fight as well to be able to. But we are winning.
Oh, cynical support getting caught up. Oh yeah, gonna get taken out. Snowlife with a nice little stun there is gonna grab him. Alveric using that ultimate as well, the corrupted chains providing enough CC to grab that kill. And now 4v5 on the map. Looks like they want to push here in the top side. Still a couple of these tier 2 towers to be claimed. 4,000 gold lead here, still for the team. They are waiting on a couple of the ornaments coming through as well to get their scaling online too. But this game is not over yet, Orion. The scaling options here for TA Light are so scary. Spoozy has the flag and drag to provide some safety in the mid side. But yeah, this Xayah and this Corki, the further this game goes on, the scarier and the scarier these guys are going to be getting.
Yeah, and Corki has 3 minutes to complete his next item, which is probably the Ravenous Hydra for him for the AoE damage. They are threatening the Baron here. It does look like they do have some decent setup here. Snowlife trying to keep people out, but it looks like they're just looking for a fight.
Yeah, they want to go for the fight. Alveric does have the ultimate available, might be looking for some sort of engagement. Kobe has now TP'd in, and look at this. They've found a corridor for the Call of the Forge God. It's going to be the Cataclysm into the backside. It's going to be them trying to go for it, but the res will come through, and Spoozy will be the only one going down. Snowlife able to self-ult in that fight, keep himself alive. 5v4 on the map again here for TA Knight. They're playing these fights out so incredibly well. Finding the correct target. Hodjo going forward, and he's just going to eviscerate ADC ARAM, who doesn't have the Featherstorm to provide that extra safety. That should be the Baron going down. 20 seconds on Spoozy. ADC ARAM in the death chamber for 30 seconds.
Yeah, and those are two really big pickoffs here. It does mean that they're probably not going to be allowed to enter into this Baron. You know, taking out the enemy jungler, taking out the enemy AD carry is a really good job by, you know, Hodjo and the rest of the squad to secure a lot of these skills. And we do see Snowlife able to land the resurrection on himself to not to trade the one for one there. And since the Zillion actually has a lot of AP, he has Everfrost, he has 16 stacks on his Medjay stack, so even for a support, he has a lot of AP, so his revives are actually giving his teammates a lot of HP back.
Playing this game incredibly well is Snowlife. He's been the target of a lot of these engagements from Spoozy and the rest of the squad, but able to use that Zillion ultimate to full effectiveness there for sure, keeping the engage from claiming a member of his team, and they're able to turn it back around. Just, I mean, Spoozy cataclysmed 4 people, but they're like, listen, man, you're not locking us up in here. You're stuck in here with us. And they just turn it onto the Jarvan, take him out. I'm looking at Spoozy's inventory here, opting to go Gore Drinker into Sterix. I do not like this option. Sterix now as a second item for Bruisers is way less effective without any bonus HP. I think the shield you get on it is like only 300 or maybe 400 HP. So I would like to see that be maybe even just a straight tank item, maybe just finish the Thornmail, or looking for something a little bit different there for him.
Yeah, I think Spoozy's job.
Does have to be a little bit careful here. Has the substitute available. It's going to try and steal some of those stats away. But yeah, he's just going to get absolutely shut down here. Unfortunately, it is Cynical support stealing the kill, but it is going to be at least a pick-off there for the team. Baron buff still on the bot side here. Hodjo wanting to try and get some damage onto this tower, wanting to claim another tier 2 tower and continue ballooning this gold lead for them. The siege is going to continue here with the cannon minion as it chips away at some of this tower, but it looks like the rest of the team, 4v5, not wanting to press too far forward, not wanting to try and push their luck here too much.
Yeah, especially with the engage options that TA Light does have, it's pretty hard to actually want to stay in this area. But they do have Yolvaric's poke. Tower is very, very low, and they do know the Gragas is in the mid lane, so they definitely have some options here to go for this kind of play. Hook does land.
Not going to be able to follow it up, though. Snowlife still has that ultimate available.
Oh,
It
here
is
comes
now
Boozy,
off
though.
cooldown.
They're
Boozy
grouping.
is here. This could be huge. Flashy Q. He's going to ult onto the backside. Snowlife has the ultimate available. Is he going to use it onto Alveric? Yes, the revive is going to come through. Now it's going to be called Forge God onto one. Alveric revives and finds one. He's trying to find another one, but it's not going to be enough. He will be getting taken out by Dr. Phil and Chill. Kobe now in a 1v3 as Hadjo looks to join the fray. He will be able to do exactly that, but the Ornn with so much damage on the Bellows Breath will claim a double kill himself. Souter with the Night Flash play, looking to go in with the body slam, will find a double stun there. Now Kobe looking for the knockups. We got some slapping wet noodle fights here like you're talking about. Orion as Gragas and the Ornn go at it, but Reedy looks to join on the top side.
Hadjo's
Hadjo
TP.
TPing back into the fray after recalling back to base full HP.
Spoozy!
He fucked up his combo. No! He QE'd instead of EQ'd, and now he will be going down. Hadjo finds the kill, and the extended fight will be going well and truly in the favor of TA Knights.
Oh, Spoozy. Oh, no. Huge blunder there, not gonna lie. It does look like they are going to be able to defend their bot tower here. Hadjo, with no ultimate ability, he's not able to play as aggressive as he would like to be onto ADC ARAM. This does mean that the dragon is going to go the way of TA Knight here, as Spoozy, unfortunately had his bit of a misclick there on his abilities. So his death does mean the 5th dragon of the game does go the way of TA Knight. So the gold lead is sitting about 6,000 gold, but fights are still actually looking, like they can go both ways still. Yeah. It depends kind of like how a lot of these teams decide to play this out. I mean, obviously we saw the hook landing onto Snowlife, and then a really sick play from Spoozy using the Hex Gates to get behind onto Yolveric and Snowlife, and taking it away some of the Magi stacks that Snowlife had. It was pretty important there. His AP was getting pretty ridiculous. But the scaling options for both teams are starting to hit kind of the number here. We're seeing the ornaments coming through. We're seeing... Oh, actually, Cynical
may have just teleported right into his death. Yeah, just gets eviscerated while TA Knight were just waiting there, waiting to see who was going to walk into the jungle. Unfortunately for Cynical Support, wanting to rejoin his team there, takes a little bit of a dangerous route into his jungle and finds himself with a gray screen. Now this team is going to look to push forward. No Baron available just yet. That buff has fallen off for them now, but they are going to look to siege up in the mid lane. Wave clear options with the Xayah and the Corki are looking pretty good here, so maybe they can mount some sort of a defense.
Yeah, there are no more Baron available, so they should be able to defend here.
Oh, he's gonna find another parallel convergence. AoE Kobe messed up his ultimate, though. Not quite gonna find a second charge onto that one, but it doesn't matter. They've already found the damage. They've already found the kills. They're gonna look for one more here as Spoozy's into the fray, but he's a little bit late for dinner, and now his dinner is as cold as his dead body. Reedy and the rest of the team, 5 members strong, will now look for the victory push. Only 1 member standing alone. It's Cynical Support, and there's nothing he can do but watch his base fall to bits. TA Knight take game 1.
Yeah, really good job by TA Knight there, doing a really good job of kind of weathering the storm there a little bit, punishing the mistakes that TA Light had in that top side of the map, securing the Baron right around 20 minutes. And with the 2 Baron takes that they were able to have, they were able to gain a lot of gold inflection into them, gaining their gold lead. I think they got 3k gold in the first Baron, about a 6k gold the second time, and they were able to kind of weather out the 3 dragons that TA Light did have. But I must say, in my opinion, I do think that game was TA Light's to lose, in terms of like how the game was good. They had the 3 early dragons, they had an even gold lead, they had the Corki scaling, they had a bit of a better team fighting composition, and quite honestly, they just kind of fumbled the bag there.
Yeah, there definitely were moments in that game where it felt like Light were in the driver's seat. It felt like they were just going to continue scaling strongly into the late game and start to take over the game once they hit kind of their 3 or 4 item spikes on their carries. But yeah, like you say, a few missteps, maybe looking for a few too many picks and fights when they don't really need to be pushing the tempo of the game there allows a very solid TA Knight victory. They were able to capitalize on some of those misplays. I think that the way they played out these engagements were incredibly smart. Hajio constantly diving the backline with huge stuns on the parallel convergence, and then Kobe with those massive knockups able to follow it up. I think they understood their composition a lot better in this game, and so then the execution was just a lot easier for them.
Yeah, and kudos to TA Knight being able to play out their composition the way they needed to. I thought Hajio had a spectacular game, landing multiple stuns onto, and then also Orin being able to follow up with that as well. I think they did a really good job in combination there. So definitely look for TA Knight to kind of have a very similar game in game two, and they're able to just kind of secure the series win for them in just 2 games.
Absolutely. We are going to take a short break before that game too, but we will be back. We will be back momentarily to see if TA Light can push us to game 3. Welcome back, everyone, to some more CCS action, week 4. My name is Lindor, here with Orion. We are primed and prepped for game 2 of TA Knight versus TA Light. Dominating victory from TA Knight, I would say, in game 1, considering what we were expecting from the compositions going into the game. Hey, Orion?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for the most part, it was pretty even for the first 20 minutes or so. They a little bit of a gold advantage early on to Ilverix Varus. The guy's a pretty solid Varus player. Definitely has a lot of experience on the champion. So a really solid laning phase for him. But we saw the real swing happen after the bit of a fumble on TA Light's execution in the top side, trying to go for a side lane play onto an Echo that still has his ultimate available when you invest so many resources into him before he even uses his ulti ability.
Yeah.
So that allowed the rest of TA Knight to come and collapse on them, get a couple of kills, and then start ballooning their gold lead. Even though TA Light was perfectly fine with scaling and perfectly fine with playing for these early on dragons, they had 3 dragons at like 18 minutes, and they had the scaling advantage in a lot of these team fights to kind of play it out. But fortunately for TA Knight, they were able to get a lot of crucial key picks. They were able to get to punish a lot of mistakes that TA Light was doing, and credits to Hagio for having a really solid Echo game. And it does look like we're kind of getting some ready checks here between TA Knight and TA Light. So hopefully we'll be getting in the draft soon.
Yeah, a couple R's getting dropped. I love that you call out Hodja there because this is a player who had their first game, their first series with the team last week. I thought performed quite well last week, and especially in this game, pairing up with Kobe for some of these engagements was exceptionally good to see. We're going through some draft here, some bans hitting the table already. Vagar and Poppy, Ari and Jinx. TA Knight, one final ban here. We'll see what they want to take away. I'm expecting TA Light, their third ban, to probably be the Zeri. If they don't ban that away, I know for a fact that Ulveric is very, very happy to pick that champion up.
Yeah, I definitely think if you are Tia Knight here, I think getting a very strong ADC for your Varric definitely seems to be kind of the MO. So the Zeri or even the Varus, once again, depending on like how this guy is feeling, it does
Wow.
look like they're actually opting into the Varus ban, which it obviously does lift the Zeri up, so it is going to be selected here. And in terms of like player preference, I can see why they banned the Varus because this guy is such a talented Varus player, but when you leave a champion like Zuri up and available, it's a pretty big feels bad if you're TA Light here.
Yeah, we saw last week Ulveric get his hands on this champion and have a fantastic performance. Even able to find a couple 2v1 scenarios in the bot side when Snowlife left him to go make plays with the rest of the team. So I think it's definitely a bit of a risk leaving this champion up for Ulveric, but maybe they have an answer to it. They are going to lock in Xayah Trundle, so taking away the Trundle, which we saw in the hands of TA Knight in game 1, and seems to me that they're pretty happy with this Xayah pick, maybe just not super happy with the execution in game 1.
Yeah, I can definitely see how Xayah can be pretty decent into Zuri because Xayah kind of wants to fight through minions, and Zuri does not want to fight through minions at all. She kind of has to use her E if she wants to extend a lot of these trades. Tom Kench coming through does look like AoE Kobe is potentially getting his hands on that champion once again. Obviously, it could go into the support, but I mean, we've seen AoE Kobe has such a dominating success on this Tom Kench that it's very likely to go in the top side, and he honestly feels like there's nothing that TA Light can play into the Tom Kench that's actually going to just dominate this lane. I feel like there are options that you can definitely pick. One of those options actually being the Trundle. The Trundle just kind of smacks around the Tom Kench in lane. You can actually cancel out a lot of what Tom Kench wants to do. It definitely kind of takes a bit of a different play style to play the Trundle top lane. So I'm not sure if TA Light top laner is willing to make that adaptation. Have to wait to see. Obviously, the Poppy ban does kind of signal that they kind of wanted to go for champions with high mobility, the Zuri and the Jarvan, champions that kind of rely on their dashes. And that we also see the Rakan coming through, the lovers duo in the bot lane.
Definitely is going to be a better pairing there for the Xayah. Yeah, a couple of flex picks here. Of course, you already talked about the Tom Kench and the Trundle. Could be flexed around. Trundle top, since the lethal tempo nerfs is not as strong as it was maybe at the start of the season, but definitely has a place, I do think. Second phase of bans here coming through. Yeah, no support picked up here just yet for TA Knight, so not wanting to see the Yuumi attached to a Zeri. I think that's a pretty smart ban out there. We'll see what else they want to take off the table here. Maybe the Zillion, again, is something that can enable this Zeri pretty confidently as well.
Yeah, I think the Zillion off should be really solid for Zuri, and even like champions like Jarvan and Tom Kench. Like
Yep,
the champion like Saya
there it is.
wouldn't have very much ability, so a good respect band there. I definitely think obviously that does kind of leave up the traditional like Leonas. That's like Leona's a really good laning champion to Rakan. You can just kind of not allow Rakan to do kind of
Right.
what Rakan really likes to do.
Mhm.
There's also Nautilus. There's even just potentially even throwing Tom Kench in the bot line. There's a couple of options that TA Knight can look to do here. But kind of like we talked about, we're pretty confident Tom Kench is going to the top lane here for TA Knight.
Mhm.
Just due to the player that AoE Kobe kind of is. And then actually a Hecarim being
Ooh.
locked in here for TA
Yeah,
Knight, which does mean the Trundle will be shifting into the top lane.
true. Yeah, I'm really excited to see the Hecarim. I think that this is a pick that's going to continue cropping up in the meta as a really, really strong pick. I wouldn't be surprised to see teams even first rotating it, maybe next week or in our
Mhm.
games later this week. I think it provides so much clear speed, but also still can skirmish exceptionally effectively and also has a lot of gank tools. So I think it's a really well-rounded champion. Can team fight pretty well with the ultimate and has some
Ooh.
scaling prowess in its own right as well. Nico is a Hajo pocket pick, was banned away in game 2, so we might see some spicy pop blossoms in this one. And Seraphine probably going to be the lock in here. It is being hovered. That would mean the Tom Kench is going top like we expect. Um, just, I think an enchanter here for the Zeri just to buff it up makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. It's also really good into what TA Light's composition wants to do. Also, the Nico pick is really good as well. I
Yeah.
think the Trundle, the Rakan, and the Hecarim all want to
Ooh.
go in, and Nico loves for people to be on top of her because that's where
Mhm.
her ultimate is just going to do so much work. And for Ziri, there's actually not a lockdown on this champion except for maybe the Hecarim fear or the
Yep.
Rakan going in, letting a charm. So the Morgana pick, the spell shield on Zuri when she's looking to do a lot of these fights is
Yep.
going to cause a lot of havoc for TA Light. And we do see an Anivia pick coming in, which is kind of interesting because it's a bit of an anti-synergy of what Hecarim and Rakan want to do. Those champions want
Yeah.
to go in, they want to play fast, they want to play aggressive, and Anivia just kind of wants to control areas with her ultimate ability and her
Mhm.
wall ability. So we could potentially see a wall coming up and then Rakan and Hecarim going in so that they can't actually escape from those engagements. But if Hecarim and Rakan just go way too far in some of these team fights, Anivia just won't be able to do a whole lot in these team fights.
Yeah, I have to agree. Maybe it's a scenario, excuse me, where they think, hey, we're picking a lot of this dive. They're picking the things like you talk about the Nico who likes things diving into her. Same with the Morgana. Her ultimate can provide a lot in those sort of scenarios. So maybe they think, hey, we don't want to index too hard into this dive, but I
Mhm.
almost feel like that's the right call. Because if you dive in on this Nico, yeah, she's going to press R, but if you just kill her before she can even do that, that might be kind of the best answer, right?
Yeah, potentially. I will say Nico's ultimate does provide a pretty hefty shield when
Mhm.
she is casting the initial part. So bursting her out will be hard. Also, there is Tom Kench ulti as well. So as long as Nico
True.
starts that ability and Tom Kench
Hmm.
can eat Nico, the
Hmm.
damage will still go through.
Right.
Tom Kench can actually reposition Nico that way.
Yeah,
Pretty funny interaction there.
yeah.
Doubt we'll see it in terms of specifically being used for that reason.
Mhm.
There's also Morgana Black Shield as well. So I really like TA Knight's composition into what TA Light is looking to do. I
Yeah.
don't think they have a lot of lockdown on the Ziri or even the Nico. And then
Mhm.
even if they do lock those champions down, Ziri can even opt in for cleanse.
Yep.
They have the Morgana spell shield. They have Tom Kench eat ability, and then once Tia Light goes in with their champions, it's what did they have left? Like what did the Hecker Mercon have afterwards? They don't, and there's just they run out of gas very very quickly. So for
Yeah.
TA Knight to survive the initial engage is going to be really important for them. And once they survive, they can just kind of chase them down with Jarvan, Morgana bindings, and also just Ziri's just straight up mobility
Yeah.
in a lot of these fights.
So, kind of looking at those team compositions as we're seeing them, we obviously we're getting the feeling here that TA Knight do have quite a significant draft advantage.
Mhm.
The one lane though that I do want to focus on here for TA Light is this top side because for UBC Souter in this counter matchup might be able to get a lot of work done. We have seen Kobe be completely fine in some of these matchups, even winning matchups that are really terrible for the Tom Kench. So I think that Souter does have a tall task ahead of them, but that's kind of the one lane where I feel like maybe they can get an early advantage and try to leverage that for some sort of mid-game pressure or maybe an early Dragon Soul like we saw them try to go for in game 1.
Yeah, and also just with just how strong an item like Hullbreaker can be, and just like a lot of the split pushing items that Trundle can
Right.
build into this game, I definitely really want to see Trundle go more of that route. I don't really want to see Trundle in a lot of these team fights because I don't think he's
Okay.
actually going to provide a lot of details.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be much better for him just to build the Hullbreaker, maybe even build a Blade of the Ruin King, and just sit top
Mm,
lane, demolish all these towers, and say, "Hey,
yeah.
send 2 people to kill me, or I will destroy your entire base."
Absolutely. And even in those 2v1 scenarios, he can get the subjugate onto the Tom Kench, steal a lot of those stats away, and maybe try to even win out in the 2v1. We have seen
Mhm.
Souter kind of play this style before. I do want to look at some of their previous games. Has had a couple Jace games, so is kind of used to that strong side style. So definitely, I don't think we'll be uncomfortable in this sort of a matchup. It's just going to be a matter of how much work he can get done up there against Kobe, who I mean, we've talked about it so much, but I have to say it again. He's just such a fantastic weak side top laner.
Yeah, I mean, especially on this Tom Kench, like, we saw it in game 1, it got respect banned. Game 2, unfortunately for TA Light, they were on the red side, so they had to ban
Mhm.
more of the OP picks. They couldn't
Yeah.
just ban away some of the more pocket picks that TA Light has, which is one of the unfortunate things about being red side currently in the meta. You just have to ban away like the Jinx. You kind of have to just typically ban away the Zeri or like the Ari or just some of the overpowered champions. So which that does mean that Tom Kench is available for a player like AoE Kobe, and he showed game after game that he's willing just to say, "Hey, I don't care what matchup I'm playing against. I'm playing Tom Kench, and I'm gonna win." So I really hope that someone finally beats this guy in lane. So I can't keep saying that this guy should be losing because it makes me look worse and worse every single time as an analyst. But I do feel like this Trundle should just smack around this Tom Kench in lane, and hopefully UBC Solder does me a favor and kind of helps me out here. But you never know. AoE Kobe might just prove me wrong once again.
Yeah, we'll have to see, and whether jungle attention does go towards that top side as well. Maybe Spoozy wants to try and invest in the Trundle so that they can have that extra point of pressure on the map. But we will have to see when we load on to the Rift. We're just waiting another minute here or so for a spectator delay, and then we'll be loading in for game 2. TA Light trying to force a game 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Everybody panic! Hold on! I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome back, everybody, for Game 2 of TA Knight versus TA Light. My name is Lindor, once again here with Orion, and it looks like we might get a spicy level 1 here for Game 2. A 5-stack into the top lane here from TA Knight. Souter could be the target. Snowlife has the binding available. Is gonna search for it. Souter with a nice flash there. I think that just barely would have clipped onto his heels.
Yeah, I think I can actually agree. I think that the clip it would have potentially landed there. We are seeing some wards placed by UBC Sauter and Spoozy to make sure that there's no funny business happening on their own red buff. Snow Life getting what it came there for. Got a flash out of enemy team's top laner, which will affect this matchup a little bit in terms of what AoE Kobe and UBC Sauter are looking to do. AoE Kobe could potentially go to get an advantage in this lane now that he has no flash. But the result does mean that the enemy team is able to get a ward on their red buff as well, since they had the information. And it does look like ADC ARAM and Cynical Support are looking to do something very similar as last game. They're looking to get a potential advantage or a bit of a cheese in the spot lane, since they don't have to actually leash for their jungler.
Yeah, we'll see if Snowlife and Elveric do walk in and face check this sort of combo. Yeah, they are going to look for it. Grand Entrance will come through. Lots of feather damage will be coming through. Snowlife immediately having to flash away. Heal burned as well from Elveric. They are going to turn some damage here back around onto Cynical Support, but a nice summoner spell advantage here for the TA Light bot lane. Ignite traded for the flash out of Snowlife and the heal from Elveric.
Yeah, a lot of damage traded back onto ADC Airman and Cynical Support there, but crucially, Snowlife having to burn flash, Elveric burning heal at the same time. So while the health trade actually in favor of TA Knight, the actual overall summoner trade goes to the favor of TA Light there.
Absolutely true. Both these junglers now heading towards their bot sides of the map. It is just a classic 3-camp clear here for Reedy on the Jarvan, and Spoozy looking for maybe just a 5-camp clear. Did actually skip his Krug, so making sure that he's on the bot side of the map here at the same time as Reedy, just in case there is any sort of possible engagement here. The wave pushing away, though, from the TA Knight bot side, so I don't expect the Jarvan to be able to get too involved here on the bot side just yet, and instead might be looking to target this Anivia early on in this matchup, or maybe even look to invade here onto Spoozy. No, just taking a wraparound gank onto Dr. Phil and Chill. Gonna step forward now, but nice respect here out of the Anivia. Backs away.
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing the bot lane push here for TA9 as well. We are seeing potential engage.
Spoozy is here.
Spoozy's going.
Almost end the E, but doesn't quite have the gap closed. That's going to be a summoner spell wasted for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we are seeing Jarvan still in this area as well, so he could wrap
he
around
missed
on
the flagging drag, but Spoozy still looks like he is getting pressured off of this one. Reedy with some auto attacks trying to come through. Dr. Phil and Chill will be the first to this roam to respond, but Snowlife in the area. Ulfric just going over the wall fearlessly here. Such a big fight here over the... Oh, double knocked up here from Reedy as he wants to go forward. Ulfric in the area, wanted to grab first blood, will do exactly that on this area. Now flashing forward, looking for even more. ADC Aram has no flash, he's got no heal, he's got no life. And it's a double kill for Ulfric once again. The TA Knight 80 carry with an early game lead.
Yeah, and just a really good jump by TA Knight's bot lane there. Having the push, having the pressure advantage that they had just the same as last game too, being able to respond first to that type of play. And while they are securing 2 kills to the AD carry, they're also securing a push lead at the same time. While Dr. Phil and Chill is getting very low, he does still have Egg Nivea, so not in too much of a threat there. Hajo could still look though.
Ooh. Stun is going to land there. Nicely done there from Dr. Phil and Chill. Looked like he wanted to get the recall off and try to TP back to this lane, but now he's playing with fire here a little bit, trying to pick up this wave. Has to be careful. Hajo throwing a couple spells out, trying to fish for maybe popping that passive, but not going to be able to claim it here just yet. We're going to look in on this top side. Souter is getting the better of this matchup, has been able to garner a small CS lead for himself. Kobe actually having to be careful here. Thick Skin popped, does have to flash away from the pillar from Souter, so we are starting to see this Trundle able to push the tempo in this top side. And with this wave pushing away from Kobe, might be in a little bit of trouble here if Souter can grab a freeze, but no, it's going to be Kobe looking for it. Tongue Lash will be going down. Souter now in the bush, has the chomp, trying to look for the 1v1 kill, but Kobe is just too dang good at this champion, man. Stop it.
I also gotta say, I gotta point it out, UBC Sauter misplayed that so poorly. He was tanking about 20 minions for that entire fight, so just losing so much chunk damage. Also, for AoE, so Life burning the flash, Dr. Phil and Chill, well played there on the roam. But for UBC Sauter, you can't just disrespect the minions like that this early into the game. He does have the Sheen early on, so his early Q damage will be much higher. Critical looking on Yolveric, but Yolveric with so much mobility, Rakan just will hardly ever actually land this knockup onto Yolveric without his charm ability first. So really good reaction time by Yolveric there, being able to say, hey, like, you just can't hit me. And then once he dodges out, he can deny, he can just return a lot of the return damage that Rakan
this bush is going to find a taunt now. Alveric trying to step forward, but ADC ARAM will try and dissuade him from getting too much chunk damage there onto Cynical support. Yeah, I mean, Alveric is just so used to playing on the bot side here alone when Snowlife goes for these roams, and especially on the champions like the Zeri and the Ezreal, which he plays so much of, has so much mobility to be able to really take advantage of those scenarios. Now going forward, Black Shield is going to provide a little bit of safety there, has the E backwards as well. Nice chunk damage again onto Cynical support as they're starting to really try and take advantage of this 2v2 matchup. Now mid-jungle 2v2 in the mid lane. Spoozy is going to look to join, but not going to be able to press into that one too far.
Yeah, I feel like Dr. Phil and Shield could have been a little bit more aggressive there, knowing that the Flag and Drag was going to be missing. He could have potentially walled off the Jarvan with Hecarim in the area. I don't think it would have resulted in a kill, but definitely could have reacted in some way, whether it be like landing a stun, or it kind of depends, like, obviously what abilities he had up and available. He could have just not had his stun or a wall up, kind of hard to tell without constantly watching this mid lane. But it does look like the bot lane push that has been garnered here does result in a lot of the early vision and early control being placed near the bot side river, which could even lead to a pretty early dragon here for TA Knight.
Yeah, they have so much pressure in mid and bot that Reedy is just constantly able to set up invades into this bot side jungle. That's the second Gromp now that he has stolen away, and now they're looking to get that dragon. Top side, though, Kobe is getting the better of this matchup once again. Gets the Devour, spits Sauter out under the tower. Sauter with the subjugate on his own side, able to stay alive in this one, but Kobe just faring completely fine. Yeah, he's falling behind a little bit in CS, but as long as he's not dying in this matchup, does already have a kill to his name, and he still wants to go forward. Going to be landing that on to Sauter, who is going to eat the Abyssal Voyage. Now, going to land the pillar, but the stun comes through Kobe. One more Tongue Lash will do it. Sauter has a speed up, trying to provide enough space to not get hit by that tongue. The Abyssal Voyage into the Tongue Lash. Nice sidestep from Sauter. He will stay alive.
Yeah, Sauter just trying to play. He wants to play these trades pretty aggressively, but at the same time, he's just taking so much damage from Tahm Kench's Q. And if in any trade he actually dodges out on that ability, he will win these trades a lot harder. I will say, I really don't like the Conqueror choice by UC Sauter. I would much prefer a PTA in a lot of these trades, because it's really hard for him to actually proc up the Conqueror, get it fully all the way to 12. Yeah. And then for Tahm Kench really, he likes the short trade. He likes the auto Q trades, or he doesn't really like extending a lot of these trades. So we are seeing a lot of damage
going on here. Hodjo going forward with the Pop Blossom is going to land that one. Binding will secure the kill, or at least the egg Nivea. Passive has been popped. Now they're trying to get some shredded down onto this egg. Will do exactly that. Cynical support trying to keep his mid laner alive, but will just instead go down themselves. Another 2 kills into the pockets of TA Knight. A 3,000 gold lead, 5 kills to 0, and a dragon to boot.
Yeah, so far just a really dominating start here for TA Knight. We're sitting at about, almost close to a 3,000 gold lead, approaching at 9 minutes. Definitely not what you want to see if you're TA Light, especially when you're probably looking at a composition difference here in this specific game, to where, like, it's going to be really hard for you to actually engage on Hodjo and Yolveric as this game goes on, and it's going to be even harder to engage dealing with such a gold deficit as this game goes on.
Absolutely true. Checking in on some of these farm numbers. It is, of course, Alveric in the bot side doing a fantastic job. ADC ARAM is going to pick up 5 or 6 here, so it is only maybe a 10 CS lead, as actually Alveric needs to respect the fact that he is alone on this side of the map. Spoozy is into the fight. The ultimate has been used there by Alveric, trying to fight this one out in a 1v3, but will get charmed up, feared up, knocked up into the air, trying to trade it onto ADC ARAM, has the heal. Not going to be able to do so. Shut down does go over to Spoozy, able to capitalize on Alveric, getting a little bit overextended there.
Yeah, unfortunately for Yolveric, not able to survive the situation, but he did get a lot of resources out of TA Light there. They did invest both the Hecarim ultimate and the Xayah ultimate, as long as both summoner spells out of Xayah, and even the Ghost out of Spoozy. So if you're looking at it in terms of resource trade, you're looking at it at about a 5 to 3, because Yolveric also invested all of his summoner spells as well. But, still good job by TA Light, saying, hey, we might be losing, but we still have to look for things to do. We still have to be active. We still have to look for plays. We can't just let TA Knight just dominate this game from start to finish. So ultimately, a good job by them getting that solid play. And definitely look for them to continue to punish Yolveric now that he has no flash.
Yeah, no flash, no heal, no ultimate, at least for a little while longer. We're seeing some heavy trading here on the top side once again. Kobe able to spit Souter out under the tower, going to eat some damage there from the turret shots. Kobe still looking to go forward. One more tongue lash stuns, but oh, Souter again able to find the sidestep there. We are seeing some skirmishing in the jungle here as well. The top laner's still going at it. Kobe actually flashing forward as Spoozy on the other side of the map is on the run. Souter is getting chased down as well. Tongue lash will be sidestepped once again. Nothing will come from the cross-map plays here, but look at the dominance that we're seeing in this bot side jungle from Snowlife and the rest of his team. They found a binding. They're going forward. Pop Blossom, see ya later.
Wow, Hajo doing such a fantastic job with the Nico, understanding that he can just push out this Anidia's wave, say, hey, I don't care if I drop this mini wave crashing into the mid lane tower, as long as I get a double kill in the bot lane, further extending his lead, the bot lane's lead, crashing multiple plates here in the bot tower, and it does look like we're going to be sitting at, once again, another 3k gold lead and a 6 kill differential at 11 minutes. Hajo with a very spicy play in the bot side.
Great roam, great synergy here. We've seen it time and time again, getting these invades into Spoozy's blue side jungle. He's kind of been chased off of these camps a couple times now. I'm sure he's getting a little bit frustrated with it, but unfortunately for him, there's just nothing his team can really do. They're losing pressure in the bot side here. Alveric able to claim another plate on that side as well, and yeah, really intelligent roam, as you called out there from Hajo. Now even getting another positive trade onto Dr. Phil and Chill is going to be the Rift Herald spawned up in the bot side, going to try to break down this tower. Alveric just looking to clear out this wave. He knows that Spoozy is in the area, has Reedy and Snowlife in his back pocket as well. Yeah, this Herald actually is going to be a little bit risky. Smite actually, no, just going to pop the eye, but now Reedy is going to go forward with the fight. Flashes away from pretty much nothing and is going to get out of that one. So yeah, unfortunate timing there on the Herald. Reedy not able to get the charge off, not able to break down the tower. Small misplay out of TA Knight.
Yeah, I think overall that was just pretty poor execution from TA Knight. They definitely could have guaranteed that the Rift Herald crashed if they just pushed the wave beforehand and then placed the Rift Herald. It definitely would have crashed at that point. But a pretty small thing. It would have resulted in the first tower of the game, so it definitely would have been a pretty big influx of gold in that bot side. But Dragon still goes the way of TA Knight. They're still in full control of this game, even though they had a slight blunder there on the Rift Herald. Yolveric still looking to 1v2 in this lane. I definitely do think Rakan, now that he hit level 6, he can definitely look to be more aggressive in this bot side. Snowlife, understanding that, is coming back to his laner's help, knowing that he has the mid laners just pushing for free and Nivea's back in base. So definitely look for this bot lane to kind of be a little bit more wary. Yolveric can't just be super aggressive all the time. But as long as Morgana's in the area, Spellship can just come in, and he should be fine.
Nice wall there from Dr. Phil and Chill, trying to find the trade damage back onto Hajo, forcing him to tank a couple turret shots. Cynical support gonna get caught up here with a binding, but should be all right with a couple of those shields coming through. And does have to recall back to base. Yeah, I mean, Snowlife, I think, has realized the threat that Cynical Support does now have is actually hold that thought. Spoozy into the top side. Here going to engage onto Kobe. Reedy is here to answer, but might be a little bit low on the play. It's actually bot side. It's a dive attempt coming through. Kill coming in onto ADC around Kobe here. Still running for the hills. Reedy misses the EQ there, as we are seeing these Jarvans struggle a little bit with that combo. They are going to look for it. Oh, the dunk onto 2. The Abyssal Voyage coming down. They're going to win this top jungle 2v2. Spoozy is actually going to try to run away from this one. Has some speed ups. Just a sliver of HP. One more Jarvan Q, one more Tongue Lash, one more anything will claim the kill. 10-1 now on this map. Reedy with 70% kill participation, but Hajo might be in a little bit of trouble. That's going to be the charm coming through. He has the Pop Blossom in return. Going to prevent any sort of follow-up damage coming through from the Anivia. Hajo now going to use that clone to juke away. 300 HP on the Nico. Should be pretty all right here. I like the attempt from Cynical Support, but yeah, unfortunately, it's so easy just for Hajo to press the R button and be all right in that scenario.
Yeah, also, just Dr. Phil and Chill just wasn't quite able to get over the wall in time to do a lot of the damage that he needed to do. And also, They didn't really respect the fact that Hajio had the stopwatch in
Oh,
inventory
this
already.
is a return gank into the top side. Sauter's going to get caught up with the EQ combo. Doesn't have the ultimate available. Lots of autos coming through here from Kobe. Has the thick skin to tank up the extra tower shot. And now this is just starting to look like doomsday for TA Light. They've already lost their tower in the bot side. Now going to lose their first tower in the top side. I see pings going down on the Rift Herald here as well.
Oh,
Snow Life
right.
looking for the 1v1. A little bit of misplay there. I think I missed what happened, but not able to find anything onto Dr. Phil.
Yeah, he tried to use the Eternal Chains onto the Anivia, and he flashed after the chain had already been broken due to distance. So, a bit of an unfortunate play for him, but yeah, like we mentioned, TA Knight sitting at a solid 7,000 gold in 15 minutes. Hajio's looking to one-shot Zaya here.
I got baited. I thought that was Reedy, but actually a nice Featherstorm is going to keep ADC ARAM alive. Hajio now trying to fight this one out. Yeah, okay, still has the damage. Still able to grab that one. Kobe does TP into the fight just in case. That did get turned back around onto Hajio, but ultimately able to grab the 1v1 kill.
Yeah, and in this game, this looks better and better for TA Knight. We talked about how they definitely have this kind of composition where it's going to be a bit of a struggle to even get on top of them in the first place. And when you're sitting at almost an 8,000 gold lead at 16 minutes, it becomes almost impossible to look for engages or to even want to look for engages, look for your own plays in your jungle. Snow Life.
Oh, cynical support does get the word in the bush with the grand entrance used as an exit to get himself out of there. But yeah, I mean, look at the vision control. There's a couple decent red wards in the river right now that are going to be expiring shortly, but apart from that, pretty limited vision control for the side of TA Light, and I'd like to see TA Knight get into this river, clear out a couple of these control wards, and then look, of course, to continue snowballing these objectives. Dragon spawned in 50 seconds. I don't think that there's any way for TA Light to try and contest for this one. I think their only hope is to try and get a few more items completed before the Dragon Soul does spawn, because right now, there's a Mythic completed on the Trundle here in the Divine Sunderer. Across the rest of the map is just garage sales for all these champions. No completed items on anyone.
Yeah, you definitely can't fight at this situation. And plus, honestly, the jungle doesn't even belong to them anymore at this point in the game. It's like Hecarim is gonna be kind of starving for a lot of the gold. Because I know, like, if you're Zaya and if you're Anivia, like, you want to get as much gold as you possibly can. So you're probably going to be the ones farming up the waves, farming up the jungle camps, because you want to try and contest the power that the enemy team has at this stage of the game.
Might get found out here. Does have the EQ to get himself to safety before any sort of follow-up comes through with maybe some Hecarim CC or anything like that. And now they will turn their attention towards this dragon. And yeah, TA Light, they know they have no hope in the world of trying to contest for this one. Spoozy is going to walk forward here, but I'm not sure that's very wise. Yeah, just going to get tagged up here, taken out Abyssal Voyage. They even hand it over to Alveric, and things are going from bad to worse here for the TA Light squad.
Yeah, not sure what Spoozy's doing there. I mean, obviously, like, he doesn't even get near the Dragon Pit, more or less, like anything else. We are starting to see the Sauter finally starting to get a little bit of split push going. Good job by him, not wasting time going to the bot side, investing all of his time into the top side, getting a tower. So definitely like to see that happening. But still, it's like this game is at this point it's up to TA Knight. How quickly they want to do things. It does look like they're accelerating a little bit with this Rich Herald play. Potentially looking for a crash and a dive on a Dr. Phil and Chill.
Yeah, Dr. Phil and Chill has some people looking to join, though. Has the flash away. Reedy now is going to drop the Cataclysm and try to get him out of here. Alveric is going to be the target. Has the flash, has the heal, trying to get away, but the Onslaught of Shadows will come through and claim the kill. Reedy now in the middle of 3 is going to be the target. Has the Flagging Drag over the wall. Snow Life and Hajio on the run as well, as it is finally TA Light able to find something here, able to punch back in some way, shape, or form. They do grab a kill onto the enemy AD carry, but not able to grab any of these extra shutdowns on the backside of the fight.
Yeah, just a bit of a misposition there for what Snow Life and Yulveric really wanted to do. Yulveric wanted to be aggressive up in front of people's faces, and Snow Life was out to the side, to where while Hecarim was looking for that engage, Snow Life wasn't able to protect his AD carry in that situation, resulting in his death. Also, Hajio wasn't quite in the area as well, so the fight was basically a 2 versus 4 in that case. Hajio flashing forward.
Sauter trying to grab another objective bounty, but Hajio has found him out. Pop Blossom will claim the kill, and it's the 4th time that Souter has found himself sent back to base in a body bag. Does have quite a bit of CS to his name, 180, the most in the game so far, and you know, that's a good sign for them if there's anything going for them in this game, but unfortunately, yeah, needs to be looking for these split push opportunities when his team is on the other side of the map and has vision on the enemy team.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, you know, it's 20 minutes into the game, so the Baron is up and available for the taking for TA Knight here. So this is the kind of stage of the game where things can be pretty grim for TA Light here, because, you know, beforehand, you were probably able to wave clear away some of these minions with the fact that you had Anivia, you have Xayah, decent wave clearing champions, but with the Baron up for available for the taking, this game becomes a lot harder to manage because you're losing everywhere else. If you don't have the opportunity to the Baron.
Speaking of losing, Dr. Phil might lose his life here. Really trying to go forward. Olveric over the wall with some damage, but actually this is a 4v3 in favor of TA Light. Snow Life going forward is going to get blast coned over the wall. Now has the flash. Look at this. There's going to be the join here from the rest of the squad. TP's coming in as well as the top laners want to join the fray. It is going to be the focus on to the enemy support. Cynical support will get taken out by Snow Life. ADC now going to get taken out by his counterpart as well. And AoE Kobe doing so much to zone the rest of the team while his team just hammers on the enemies. Pop Blossom comes on for the cherry on top. Souter will fall, and Baron will be TA Knight's prize.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we talked about earlier about how, like, it's just so hard to actually want to engage on this composition because Anivia just can't follow through whenever Hecarim ulties onto the backline. Hecarim had a pretty decent ultimate onto Olveric, but with Dr. Phil and Shield getting blasted before the fight even started, he was in Nivea. Wasn't able to secure control over that area with that ability. And honestly, at this point in the game, TA Knight is just kind of slapping TA Light with their wallet, saying, "Hey, we're up 10,000 gold. You guys said no chance in these team fights. I'm not even sure why you're even contesting us at this area at this point in the game, anyways." So a bit of a misstep there by TA Light, but TA Knight looking to get back on the map, looking to be very active and seeing how much of the map they can take away here from TA Light.
Yeah, Baron buffed up now, just a minute on their Ocean Soul. 2 item spikes coming through here for their carries. It is the Zonias as the option here for Hadjo. Olveric actually messed up his E through the wall there, but should be all right. Does have 2 items there for himself as well with the Gwynsu's coming in. They're going to try and steal away this blue buff. They don't get it, but they are going to actually just go for the kill here. Yeah, that's going to be a couple more kills picked up. Olveric with the long E through the wall wants to chase down Dr. Phil and Chill. That's going to be Thanksgiving dinner as the bird goes down, and this is going to be TA Knight just absolutely dominating their sister team.
Yeah, I'm not sure why TA Light keeps thinking that the jungle is even theirs. They keep trying to contest in areas that do not belong to them anymore. Unfortunately for them, resulting in several deaths, and probably a good chunk of their base is going to get taken here. It does look like probably the mid tower, maybe even the mid inhibitor, since the fact that ADC ARAM can't even walk up with any of his teammates around him to help him in this situation. Also, we're also seeing the dragon being taken here by Olveric at the same time, so Ocean Soul likely to be picking up here. So that they will have, you know, just even like an even harder time engaging onto TA Knight here, and it's looking like a pretty clean game here for TA Knight, pretty well executed game. Probably looking at around a 25-minute game here for TA Knight, and just an overall just a really well done game.
Oh, finding lands that should be, yeah, Dr. Phil just going down. Hadjo now with the Pop Blossom is actually not going to find too much. Spoozy trying to look for the fight. Reedy is in the front lines, going to EQ back off as Hadjo steps forward, getting some damage there with the Q. Root going to come through as now Onslaught of Shadows into the backside. Is going to try and find something. Is still alive. Cynical support going to go forward. They find one as it is ADC going through, but the Jarvan able to turn it back around, claiming the double kill. Still trying to chase down Spoozy as it is Souter going toe-to-toe with Hadjo, who is going to find himself going down, but it is still Reedy on the chase down. Still Reedy looking to continue this push. They still have Kobe up here in the top side. It was a 4v5 in TA Light's favor, but TA Knight are just too far in the lead. They've got Ocean Soul, Olveric still alive, and they're going to look to dismantle the TA Light base. Inhibitor number 2 will be falling. Kobe still working hard on that top side inhibitor tower, but Olveric looking to push for the win now. Standing strong going forward is going to be the Q from the Jarvan, and Ulveric is just so strong. Look at the damage coming through. Souter just gets melted through, and now Cynical Support will be the target. Trying to step forward. Look at the AoE damage. Look at him just chasing them off of their base. Ulveric just doesn't care. Grabs another kill, and now they will surely look to end this game. Spoozy and ADC ARAM just standing alone in their base, not able to do anything, hoping with a hope and a prayer that they won't get dove in their fountain tower. They won't. In fact, it will be the Nexus going down, and TA Knight take a commanding 2-0 victory.
Yeah, TA Knight showing who is the better sister team here tonight in the CCS. Obviously, game one, relatively pretty close. A bit of a blunder there by TA Light, meaning that they weren't able to quite secure game one victory. And then game two was just a complete stomp from TA Knight from start to finish. 29-5 kill score, 16,000 gold lead at 25 minutes is very, very impressive. You know, I think the highest death marker on the team was Ulveric that game, and he had only 2 deaths. Everyone else was 1 or less. So overall, just a really solid game. You know, once again, you know, Hagio having so much impact on the map, being able to push in the Anivia, being able to crash down onto the bot wave. Really good timings with his bot lane matchups there. And just overall, just a really well played game from TA Knight here.
Yeah, you talk about how it's domination from start to finish in that game. I think it was domination from draft to the finish. I think the massive draft difference in that game for TA Knights. I felt like everything that TA Light were trying to go for, they just had an answer for, right? They're like, oh, you're diving? We've got a Pot Blossom. Oh, you have CC in the form of an Anivia and a Hecarim? We've got a Morgana Black Shield. You can't do anything. And, you know, hats off again to Kobe there on the top side, able to play that matchup really well. Orion, you said before the game, the only way for TA Light to have a hope in this game is Souter's Trundle taking over the game. You can't just do it. You can't do it against Kobe. He's too damn good.
Yeah, you know, Kobe just having one of those games where he is just having, you know, this guy is just a bit of a Tom Kench, you know, just monster on the side lane. I'm not sure how this guy is able to do just so well in some of these matchups where like this game is just going so lopsided in some of these lanes. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I feel like with this guy being able to play these matchups and win out on some of these exchanges is quite impressive for him to do. It allows the rest of his teammates to kind of play the game at such higher fashion. And so they're not having to worry about their top laner getting destroyed on these side lanes. They're not having to worry about him losing on these matchups because, you know, they know if he gets his Tom Kench, he's going to just destroy the game.
Yep, has shown that time and time again. I think we are going to try and get an interview here with a TA Knight member after that win. So we're just going to take a short break, try to set that up, but we'll be back hopefully in a couple minutes with the TA Knight member to ask them some stuff. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Lindor, here with Orion again. We are luckily enough to be joined by TA Knight support Snowlife. Snowlife, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Good, good. Congratulations on the win there. Pretty commanding victory for yourselves. I wanted to talk a little bit before we get into the nitty gritty in-game stuff about kind of your relationship with your sister team here, TA Light. We kind of heard a little bit from Ulveric last week that you aren't too familiar with the squad, but how does it feel to take down a team that is a sister team on your organization?
I love all them. I'm more sister team with them because I'm on another TA team called Valor, who was the original sister team to Light, or just like a stepsister, if you would, a step brother even.
All right.
So I love them all. Like I play with Cynic and Crystal, aka ADC ARAM, all the time. So I just love them.
All right, so maybe a little bit bittersweet having to take them down today, or are you gonna go, hit them with some trash talk and some bragging rights later?
No, I definitely feel great about it. Maybe a
There
little bragging. I won't trash talk them because they're cool.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, definitely a lot of banter probably going to be happening between you guys. Honestly, for your own individual performance, game one, I think you only had like 2 deaths on the Zillion, purchasing of Medjais throughout that games, definitely providing a lot of. Your ultimate, I think, was reviving most of your team members, like to back full HP because of just how much raw AP that you had. And then even in this game, you went 5-1-14, buying the Medjais once again. So overall, very stellar game so far for you. How do you feel like your individual performance was in this match?
I thought I played really well. I'm still a little salty about the first dragon fight in game one. I just didn't ult because I didn't think Cynic's Thresh could kill me like that, and then I died, and I was like, did I really just die to Thresh? So I didn't ult or do anything, and I was definitely the cause of that lost fight.
Yeah, I saw there was one fight where I believe you tried to cast your ultimate onto Yolveric, and it went onto AoE Kobe because if he was so thick in that fight and were causing your Yolveric to die. I think it was either the second or the third dragon where he was standing like the two chambers like right on top of each other, so you just slightly misclick that one, caused you guys to lose that team fight. So
Oh god,
that was probably a bit
why
of
are
a
you
fluke.
hurting me? I forgot
We're
about
just
that one, honestly. That was awful too.
we're just here to call out the only 2 mistakes you had in
True,
this game. So,
true.
otherwise, I thought it was a stellar performance for sure for you and the rest of the team. I want to touch a little bit on the champions you played because normally we're kind of used to you playing more of the playmaking style, champions like the Thresh or the Leona or even the Rakan, which we saw on the other side. So, how do you feel? Playing more of a facilitating role on the Zillion or the Morgana, do you feel like you just have so much confidence in the rest of your team that you can kind of pick whatever you need to fit the composition?
Yeah, I have so much confidence in our team, but if you look at my OP, I'm actually a Zillion main.
I did notice
And
that, yeah.
yeah, I play Zillion Lux. I'm not usually of the other champions we like that playstyle, so I just picked the champions that fit it, like Alistar, Nautilus. But my normal go-tos are actually like Morgana, Zillion, and that.
Okay. Felt good to be on kind of more of your tried and true champions today then?
Oh yeah, I love playing these, especially Zillion. Everyone bans it, but I love playing Zillion. It's so much fun.
Yeah, especially with Zillion being a bit of a flex pick as well. I mean, the champion can go in the mid lane, can go in the support. So I think you guys picked it R3 and match one number one. So you definitely left up. Obviously Hachio is kind of more he's like a playmaker, more of the mid laner. He likes to play like the Echoes, likes to play like the Nikos, like more of like an actual champion that like does more of fulfilling action. Also in terms of the series, going into it, especially game one, I definitely felt like TA Light's composition was a little bit in favor in terms of your guys's because it felt like their composition was just a little bit easier to play out in some of these cases. How did you feel going into game one and also for the first 20 minutes because they had the 3 dragons, the gold lead was practically even, and then they made the one mistake in the top lane, leading to you guys getting the Baron in that matchup and furthering your gold lead at that point in the game.
Um, yeah, game one felt awful. I trolled draft a little bit there. Yeah, it was a little. I didn't really know what I wanted there, and I was like, "Oh, Zillion, that's cute. Ooh, Varus, that's a cute champion too." And then when we did like all 5, I was like, "Yeah, they're gonna poke us with Corki, aren't they?" And then Package is gonna hurt us. Luckily, through like Echo did or Hadia did amazing Echo play there, and great Ornn ults, and Ulveric played great, so we got through it just individually. But I think draft needed a bit of work.
It's got to feel nice, as you take kind of the wheels with drafting for the team. It's got to feel nice when you feel like you made a blunder in draft, but your team is able to still come out and come out with the victory. I think you're absolutely right. Hadjo and AOE Kobe had fantastic games in game ones. Some of the engages that they were able to land were decided the game ultimately. So I think it probably feels really nice, obviously, for you to have kind of those players who can play a composition that maybe not be too favorable for you, but still come out on top.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think Kobe, like the silent hero of like every game, like
Yeah.
Tom Kench just blind pick, just solo kills top lane. The Orin blind pick, like he just blind picks everything, and I'm like, oh my god, how are you winning?
Yeah, it's definitely a question I keep asking myself as well. Because every time I see this guy pick Tom Kench, I'm like, all right, there's no way he wins a set lane. There's no way he wins a Trundle lane, and he just keeps winning these matchups. I'm just like, okay, dude. At this point, I don't know if it's the fact that he's just playing so well, or if it's everyone else playing so poorly. I'm gonna lean to the fact that it's kind of a bit of both. AoE Kobe is playing these matchups out well, but at the same time, I also feel like a lot of these top players are just making a lot of individuals mistakes at the same time. But I definitely do think that you guys played really, really well, and I do think that this puts you guys now at 3-1, I believe, right under Hard Hat. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So going into you guys obviously have already played Hard Hat, so you guys don't really have to deal with them anymore. But in terms of what you guys are looking to do to be the best team that you can be in playoffs, who is kind of the couple of teams that you're definitely looking to be a contender in the Wednesdays group?
We mostly go with like a blindfold on until the game day.
Okay.
But for the most part, DNX looks scary as all hell.
Mhm.
And then I think we play them next week too, so I think
do.
that's just the main focus here, and then we'll see what happens the week after. I think Dorado's Wednesday too, and they're looking pretty okay.
Mhm.
So I'd say those two are the main two, unless I'm forgetting someone.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about that matchup next week, given that you are going up against DNX. I think it's going to be a tough fought battle from both sides, but how do you how do you look at your chances heading into that one?
I think we're pretty good. I think Panzora's top lane for that team, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I was on a team with them before. It's gonna be pretty fun. At the very least, if not anything, it's gonna be fun.
You're just smacking down all your friends left, right, and center. Eh?
Yeah,
I
we're
did-
just going.
I definitely do think that Panzora is the top laner that can probably start challenging Kobe in a lot of these side lanes, because he definitely is the carry type of player that can definitely um, beat up on some of the champion pool that AoE Kobe does. So for the next match, if AoE Kobe is able to do what he has done to all the other top laners that he to Panzora, then I will probably say he is the best weak side top player in the entire CCS. If that does happen, but hopefully Panzor is able to come out and at least challenge him to a way that makes the series a bit more fun to see. But overall, solid 2-0 for you guys, and just really well played overall.
Yeah, congratulations on the win again, Snow Life. That's all the questions we have tonight, except I did forget. We haven't handed out an MVP for tonight. So while we have you here, who would you say performed the best on your team tonight? Who are you giving the MVP?
Oh god.
I know, putting you on the spot a little bit.
I'm going with Hadio.
All right.
It was Hadio or Kobe, and I was like, I think Hadio had some flashy flashes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Good choice.
You love to see it. All right, Snow Life. Well, thank you for joining us for the interview, and good luck in your games coming up.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Well, that is going to do it for us here today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. On behalf of myself, Orion, and our production crew, thank you so much for being with us here tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more CCS action.